Takes a shot on this show.
This is Rutledge and Hamilton with Jim Rutledge and Matt Hamilton.
People like me.
That's some booty, Jim.
Presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN.
The Chicago Bears select Caleb Williams.
ESPN Wisconsin's only Bears fan, Jim Rutledge, joins us now.
I'm good. My fortunes are changing.
The best QB in the North. He hasn't taken a snap yet, Rutledge.
I'm just taking your optimism, and I'm co-opting it.
Things are coming up. Rutledge.
With the 25th pick in the 2024 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Jordan Morgan, tackle, Arizona.
The Packers liked him enough and had him graded high enough. Jordan Morgan was probably their clear-cut guy. They had Cooper DeJean staring them in the face if they wanted him.
They gotta play like DMX or something like woo, woo. You know what I mean?
It's not woof, woof.
He barks.
Yeah, woo, woo.
Does that sound better than woof, woof?
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio with downtown Molly Brown. Here's Jim Rutledge.
Goody fell in love with Jordan Morgan and had to get his man. That is what happened for the Green Bay Packers in the first round of the NFL Draft last night. They take Jordan Morgan, a tackle, and it surprised some. And I do think, to say this immediately, it's really hard to grade the actual player because you just don't know. Like, it's just one of those things out there with Morgan that on paper, it looks like he'll be a good player, but it is also a surprising pick that I think we all expected other people to be there and to be taken by the Green Bay Packers. And I think there's probably teams behind the Green Bay Packers who were pleasantly surprised that they went with Jordan Morgan instead of someone who they thought the Packers might take. And
thank you.
I think the Packers, Molly Brown, Jim Rutledge with you live from the Everlight Solar Studio, a special edition of Rutledge and Hamilton presented by Coors Light.
Let's go.
I think they were scooped by the Detroit Lions.
Ooh, how so?
I think the Packers wanted the pick the Detroit Lions got. I think they wanted the corner from Alabama. And I think that they weren't like caught off guard. They obviously, Terry and Arnold. But I think that they were hoping that he was going to be there for them, and he wasn't. And they went with plan B, and I think Jordan Morgan was plan B in the idea, like, he might have been on their board as, like, we like him in the second round, and we saw Bill Belichick with Pat McAfee say that he thought Morgan was going to be taken in the first round, and maybe the Packers just thought it's not worth risking it. That's why I said Goody fell in love. Some GMs trade up and use draft capital to go get a player. That's not Goody's MO, but Goody's done this before. And I mean, like any GM, there's hit or miss on it. But Sean Clifford last year took him in the fifth round. Most people, if you viewed it as a stock, would have said that was a reach because most people had him as an undrafted quarterback. So they might have just been able to get him off the free agent pile. But Goody fell in love with him, had to have him. It's kind of an innocuous pick. You probably could have used another player in the fifth round over Sean Clifford. This time around, Jordan Morgan, we're going to find out if he's a player. But setting aside Jordan Morgan as the prospect, and we'll get into him in a minute, I don't know if he's going to be good or bad, but it does feel like Goody fell in love with Jordan Morgan and didn't want to risk missing him. And that's my whole point today. You cannot tell me that Goody isn't like every other GM. He's just got a different kink. Some GMs like to trade up to get their guy.
Gross.
Goody says, I'll overdraft him. I'll take him too early. And that's what happened. It doesn't mean it's a bad pick. It just means if you're a stockbroker, probably overpaid a little bit, bought a little high.
So you don't like this pick at this position?
At the draft position, I feel like they probably could have done a little bit more maneuvering to get. Heck, the Packers I think they could use a center and a tackle. They could have taken Graham Barton and then used their later picks and traded back into the first round if they were so worried about Morgan, and then gotten back in the first round and taken Jordan Morgan a little in the first round as well. They could have had two guys.
So if you were a Packers fan, that's what you would have wanted them to do.
I'm not saying that for sure. Again, the pick and Jordan Morgan, we'll get to the scouting report on him. I don't know. Like, it's too. You just don't know what anyone's going to be, and that part is, I think, we have to set aside. I don't like doing draft grades on the actual player because it's just too much. But just like with Atlanta, Michael Penix might turn out to be good. Now, this isn't an Atlanta-type reach, but Michael Penix might turn out to be good in the future, and I would imagine that their plan is to start him in 2 years. But regardless, they took him way higher than they needed to. Atlanta could have done some maneuvering.
Yeah, that's a whole other thing.
And then the Packers, I think, could have done some maneuvering. I think they took Jordan Morgan higher than they needed to. Not that it's a bad player pick. That's TBD.
So my whole hope going into last night, I was like, I want them to get Cooper DeJean. I didn't think they necessarily would, just because I feel like it was kind of the obvious answer. Like, that is what so many people have been asking for. But now I'm kind of like, okay, why did he drop to the second? What happened here? And I don't think it's that bad of a pick that they picked Jordan Morgan, because they obviously need offensive linemen. Like, so I don't.
Yeah, the position fits.
Yeah, like, I don't not like the pick. I think it's fine. I just think that today is going to very well determine how Packers fans feel about last night.
Well, not just today, because going forward in the future, Terrion Arnold picked right before them by the Detroit Lions in your division.
Yep.
If he is a lockdown corner, the Lions have gone the other way. I know some Packer fans, and Tauscher's been saying this, Packers don't have to do a lot. They don't have a lot of holes to fill. Well, the Detroit Lions the last 2 years have had better seasons than the Green Bay Packers, and over the last 2 years, they've been aggressive in saying, well, we're not perfect. They were bad in the secondary last year. They acquired a corner from Tampa, and now they acquired a corner in the first round in Terrion Arnold. They said, we're going to go out and go get better. Another guy at 22, this is the guy I actually thought the Packers should have drafted, just traded up to go get, was Quinion Mitchell from Toledo. Kind of viewed as the best corner in the draft. You could have had universally viewed the best corner in the draft and moved up 3 spots. Like, that would have, if I was a Packer fan, that would have been like, oh, yeah. Jordan Morgan, again, I'm going to say this right now. I don't know if he's going to be good or bad. My only knock on this pick is that it seemed higher than needed. He was ranked as the 8th best tackle, 40th overall player. And that's on ESPN, but universally, you go across the board. You don't have to take one, but when the consensus says this is a little bit of a reach, you can look at it. Again, I'm not burying the pick. I'm just saying that Goody fell in love, and that's what I really want to point out. Goody's not some analytical robot where they say, oh, he's just going to make the best pick according to his board. No, he fell in love with Jordan Morgan and made the pick, which I respect. I just think that he probably could have maneuvered some and still gotten Jordan Morgan.
Is it a red flag that nobody was talking about Jordan Morgan before this?
No, again, I don't. It's not so much that part of it, because again, draft stuff, it gets kind of weird. There's a lot of subterfuge. Nobody was really talking about Penix.
Did he speak English?
Subterfuge.
Subterfuge?
Yeah.
Goody was talking about subterfuge earlier this week, so
Yeah.
you might be right there, Jim.
So there was just a lot of misinformation. We'll go with that one. There's a lot of misinformation out there.
Gutekunst.
Penix was one that I was listening to a podcast today that Dane Brugler said that he was hearing some smoke around Penix, and he thought that was just misinformation out there trying to drive up the pick. So this is that time that there is misinformation. So Jordan Morgan, it's not, again, shocking in the idea that the Packers take him where he's at. It just feels like a guy they probably, Alex Strofe said this when the pick was made. Alex Strofe, diehard Packer fan, did the show yesterday with Homer. He was on, the pick came in, said that feels like he could have been there at 41. And that's the only just like with stocks and just like with draft picks, if this stock, which is how I grade the draft, is more of, are you drafting players based on their value to the league? Because to me, that's part of it. You have your own board, and that's being a good GM, having your own board and being a good scout. But the other part of your board is, what is everyone else doing? What is this person viewed at? Where can I get them? So maybe the Packers overpaid for a stock, but if this stock is Apple, who cares?
So I know that you briefly mentioned the Bill Belichick stuff when we began the show, but did you hear how high on him he was? Because, like, hearing him talk about it, and I believe it was before the Packers had picked him up, but he was like, he's not going to be here by the end of the first round and all this. Like, it got you excited for this guy. So I'm curious, like, do you put any stock into that? Because I feel like I do.
You should be. Again, the player you should be excited about. I have no qualms specifically with the player. And maybe Belichick is also a notorious guy who falls in love in overdrafts. Like a lot of times, those players still work out. But the point is, like, if this guy could have worked out at 41, you could have either acquired more picks or acquired Graham Barton and this guy and Morgan. But That's the only knock on it. It's you could have had more. So this isn't the actual player we'll get to in a minute, but that is still TBD. It's just the idea. And Belichick, right. I mean, it's not about the player. It's about the actual draft value, the capital, because you lost capital here. Like, without a doubt, the Packers gave up capital in drafting Jordan Morgan where he was at because there was capital on the table. There was room on the table. They bought this stock higher than it needed to. I think they could have waited and gotten the same stock even a few picks later, or they could have traded back into the first round after taking a different player. So that's more the value game than the actual player game that I am nitpicking for the Packers.
I think it was Jason Wilde that said this, and I can't remember when he said it, but he basically said that he feels like, based on what Brian Gutekunst was saying this past week leading up to the draft, that he thinks that there was no way that Goody was going to give up any of his first 5 picks. So I think that kind of contributes into
what do you think
how
of that?
he.
But is that a good plan?
I don't know.
Like Quinyon Mitchell was 3 players away, universally viewed as the best. I know Tauscher kept on saying all these quarterbacks, all this stuff, let these players fall to the Packers. You're the Packers. You're trying to go win a Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Maybe don't wait to see what falls there. You have a gaping hole at cornerback. I'm sorry. Am I the only one that knows that the Packers have one cornerback in Jair Alexander, who is very much mercurial? You don't know what you're going to get out of him?
There's very much a gaping hole at offensive line, too, though.
Yeah, but
there's
Walker,
no backup whatsoever.
But Walker is at least an NFL starter. Who is opposite of Jair?
Carrington Valentine.
Exactly.
He started last year.
Okay, but this is what I'm talking about. We just say players. Detroit had players who started last year. They weren't good enough. Was the Packers defense good enough?
Well, that's why they got a new defensive coordinator.
But
you're the one who told us. You're the one who told us all of last season that they were actually overperforming the stats.
Not a corner.
But you were telling us how well they were defending the pass and all these things. They were just giving it up on the ground.
So I'm sorry. You really are happy with Carrington Valentine?
I'm just saying. This is what you told us.
But you're trying.
I don't
you're
think
trying
Ryan
to
is saying
move
that he's
something
happy
from
with
last
Carrington
year,
Valentine.
and I didn't say specifically about
but
Carrington
Valentine.
Valentine.
Rasheed Walker, 7th-round pick. Carrington Valentine, also a 7th-round pick. Look,
right. Walker played better than Carrington Valentine
and there's
last
still
year.
other corners on the board.
Right, but when you have the opportunity to get the number 1 corner universally abused, he could be viewed as a shutdown corner,
or he could end up being a bust.
Right, but why don't you have the cojones to go up and get a guy? If you're
because maybe they didn't grade him that way, Jim.
If you're Goody and you're sitting there, but this is my point, and this is the counterfactual. We can't prove it. But if Goody's just sitting there and saying, "I'm just keeping my picks. That's all I want is my picks." That's an F.
I'm not saying that's the way that he should go about it. But
that's the vibe that Wilde had, was that Goody was not going to trade up. Basically, his green piece of paper or whatever was no trade up no matter what. That was Goody's green paper. And if that's his case, that's an F.
But what if his strategy moving into today, the second round, is to somehow package multiple picks to move up to be higher in the second round today, to then go after somebody like Cooper DeJean for that corner position?
But Cooper DeJean, to the point of the draft thing, like, he's falling dramatically, and there obviously are red flags about him. And so maybe he's
What is it, though? Like, is it just because the first round was so offensive heavy?
He doesn't have necessarily a set position. I like him as a player.
That's almost better. That's a Swiss Army knife.
Yes,
that's like a Keyshawn Nixon, but better.
It's a Swiss Army knife, or it's a guy who can't play either.
Yeah.
That's the flip side of it, because there's a lot of positionless players who they just bust out.
Yeah,
we're busting out again, Jim.
Well, I say bust out like you go to the casino and you lose all your money. You busted. That's what it says. Busted.
All right.
Regardless, however you want to go.
Isn't that like from Grand Theft Auto 2? Doesn't say busted. No, it says wasted.
Wasted, yeah.
So regardless, whatever it is, that is a flag, because some of these guys who are viewed as maybe they can play corner, maybe they can play safety, maybe they can play linebacker, maybe they can play DN. Those are players who also, like, that is a red flag. It could be a huge hit in the Swiss Army knife, Micah Hyde type player, or it's Nixon. We're like, we need this guy in the high second round. Like, not every player is going to hit. Not every player on the Packers roster right now are not going to be as good they're not going to be as good as they were, or the growth that we're assuming out of them.
You can say that about Caleb Williams. Am I right, Ryan?
You can. I could be excited.
You say that about anybody in the draft
but we're talking about the Packers specifically. Don't deflect it because you're worried about it. If you want to sit there and say Carrington Valentine's the guy over Mitchell, who, I'm sorry, last week every Packer fan I talked to said, like, that guy's great. We just won't be able to get him. You could have. You didn't have to give up. 3 spots would not have been a lot to get. And I'm not saying Morgan's a bad pick. We'll get into him in a minute. My point is, you brought up the idea that Wilde got the impression from Goody that he's basically collecting
I'm not
picks
saying that,
like they're truffle, truffles here, and he can't give any up.
I'm not saying
he's
that's
like
a good method
pig
of a
and
GM
you can't
to
give him
have.
up. If that's the case, that's enough. I'm not saying that is the case, but sometimes I would say the best GMs can move off their plan. And so you might go in with that plan. Mitchell is what, honestly, viewed as probably one of the top 4 or 5 defensive players in the draft.
But couldn't you make an argument that maybe Goody didn't want a corner in the first round? He felt offensive line was the bigger issue, and he addressed it?
Yes, but then again, I'll go back to he addressed it with a guy he didn't have to address with at 25. He fell in love with Morgan and said, I'm just going to take him here. So he overdrafted him and gave up draft capital.
You always say, Jim, if he's your guy and if you think he's good enough and if you want him,
that's fine.
Then you don't need to move down and risk it.
Right, but all I'm saying is all we do is say, all Goody does, but you're going to do that. But my point, you're proving my point.
I'm just on Ryan's
Goody's
side.
just got a different. Goody's just got a different kink. If you go up and get a player, and say, I'm going to give up draft capital for that player, that's going to get in your guy.
Yes.
But you gave up draft capital and a draft pick that you can see to go get that guy.
Mm-hmm.
If you say, I have this guy 15 slots higher than everyone else, and I'm still going to take him where I'm at, that's giving up draft capital because you probably could have moved back and still gotten him. So it's just a different way of giving up draft capital. And I'm fine with that if that's your guy. All I'm saying is let's not throw flowers at the feet of Goody for never trading up.
Did anyone ever say that we're throwing flowers at his feet, or just that he did the prudent thing and stayed at the pick to get the guy he wanted?
Well, plenty of people are. Tauscher all day yesterday said Goody never falls in love with people. Goody fell in love with Jordan Morgan. And
Goody fell in love with Jordan Love. What do you mean he never falls in love? I don't agree with that.
Is that what it is? Does he just have a thing for Jordans?
He's a big Jordan fan.
J-Lo, J-Mo. I mean.
#23.
844-770-3776 is how you get into the show. Let me tell you about Chalmers Jewelers in Middleton and in Madison. Chalmers Jewelers, Madison's custom jeweler. We'll get to your calls on the other side. A lot of texts coming in. But Chalmers Jewelers, Mother's Day is coming up. There's anniversaries. There's engagement rings that you need. There's a million push gifts. There's a million different reasons to get jewelry for someone you love in your life. Go to Chalmers Jewelers in Madison or in Middleton, Madison's custom jeweler. This is Rutledge and Hamilton with Molly Brown, a special edition, 12 to 2, presented by Coors Light.
Let's go!
You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light. The mountains are blue, and we can prove it. Follow the show on Twitter at Jim and Matt.
Step into nostalgia with the Miller High Life Dive Bar of the Week. Listen to Rutledge and Hamilton every Thursday, and we will let you know where you can enjoy $2 Miller High Lifes. To celebrate our love for dive bars, me and Matt are going to tell you about some of our favorites, featuring one extra special dive bar that will have $2 High Lifes on special for the week. Taste the champagne of beer in its natural environment. A delightfully different dive bar in Wisconsin, like Bristled Boar Saloon and Grill, Cahoots, London Depot, and New Paradise Lounge.
Since J&K Security Solutions opened in 1987, our attention to detail and customer service have been our strongest assets. I'm President Jeffrey Beckman. We'll always do our best to find the most efficient and cost-effective solution to every job we tackle. Whether it's security for your home or business, installing video surveillance, or being able to control your garage doors from your phone, we can help you feel empowered with simple and user-friendly technology. Let's work together to secure your home or business. jksecurity.com.
Your Honda gets you everywhere. When it needs service, you need Zimbrick Honda service. Their customer service is second to none, and you can experience it yourself at 2 convenient Madison locations on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. Honda certified technicians handle it all. You can even get flexible payment options. Fix your car now and pay later. Apply online to see your options in seconds with no hard credit check. Make your service appointment online at ZimbrickHonda.com. Zimbrick Honda Service Center on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. Part of the Madison community since 1973. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
It's ESPN Wisconsin's Brad Nortman. NBA fans, listen up. You've got to try Pick 6, the newest fantasy app from DraftKings, an official partner of the NBA. Getting started is simple. Select if a player will have more or less of a certain stat. For example, will a player have more than 1 rebound? Or will a player have less than 3.5 assists? Pick your favorite players and compete for huge cash prizes. Download the new DraftKings Pick 6 app now using code MADISON and take on the competition with your best NBA player picks. Only on DraftKings, Pick 6 with code MADISON. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 18 plus in most eligible states. Age varies by jurisdiction. Eligibility restrictions apply. Pick 6 not available in all states. For up-to-date list of states, visit dkng.co/pick6states. Void where prohibited. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Hey everyone, Molly Brown from ESPN Madison here. For the best Southwestern food in the Madison area, it's always Pasquale's Cantina for me and my family. Whether I'm enjoying my favorite taco salad, their awesome chips and guac, or one of their famous burritos, Pasquale's is the best for authentic Southwestern fare. Visit one of their locations in Verona or Middleton today, or check out their menu and order online at pasqualescantina.com.
Bringing the flavors of the Southwest to the Midwest. Pasquale's Cantina.
Get ready to crush your fitness goals at Prairie Athletic Club, the ultimate destination for health, wellness, and recreation. This is Sarah Tauscher. The Pack has everything you need to succeed, from group fitness classes to personal training, indoor and outdoor pools, soccer fields, and so much more. Your fitness goals start at the Pack. Don't miss out. Their summer memberships are now available. So join before those rates go up. Stop by or visit prairieathletics.com today. That's prairieathletics.com. Prairie Athletic Club, family fun community.
Step into nostalgia with the Miller High Life Dive Bar of the Week. Listen to Rutledge and Hamilton every Thursday, and we will let you know where you can enjoy $2 Miller High Lifes. To celebrate our love for dive bars, me and Matt are going to tell you about some of our favorites, featuring one extra special dive bar that will have $2 High Lifes on special for the week. Taste the champagne of beer in its natural environment. A delightfully different dive bar in Wisconsin, like Bristled Boar Saloon and Grill, Cahoots, London Depot, and New Paradise Lounge.
Welcome back to Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealership.
I did not get the sense from our Q&A session with him yesterday. I think he really wants to keep all 5 of his picks. I don't think he wants to come out of the first 2 days having only picked 3 guys or 4 guys. And to your point about the 11, he said he would love to get to 13 or 14 picks, so he has that many more swings at the plate.
Jason Wilde on Tuesday on Wilde and Tausch. That show is presented by Coors Light. We are presented by Coors Light.
So sorry about that, Jim. Yeah. That was actually Jason Wilde on our show.
Oh,
Rutledge and Hamilton.
Okay.
Could you tell he was calling in?
What's that?
Couldn't you tell he was on the phone?
No, I couldn't. I thought you said that he said that on his show.
He said that on the show. Our show.
Gotcha.
I said I didn't know
Well,
where
let's
he
be
said
fair,
that.
I guarantee he says it everywhere. And I don't mean as a knock. He's just on so many different things.
I think
He's
I
repeating
actually
that.
heard on like Jen, Gabe, and Chewy.
Yes.
Over and over.
All right, that's fair. That
This is
Tuesday
Rutledge
was...
and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light. The Mountains are blue. You know what to do.
And that's Crush Coors Light.
Jim Rutledge, Molly Brown, Primetime Lorshine with you, live from the Everlight Solar Studio. It is a Fish Friday as well. We're talking about the Green Bay Packers pick. We're going to get into that. I want to give you the breakdown. But Jeremiah Madison chimes in. Jimmy's just excited about the Bears pick, as you should be. Good luck, buddy. Appreciate that. Ryan, our psychedelic advisor. Rutledge and Brown, so happy to hear your voices while I work. Much better than Greeny.
Thank you.
Robin Madison has his thoughts on Molly. I think Goody, this is Mailman Mike chimed in. I think Goody wanted to address the O-line with a quality talent. There were 7 linemen taken ahead of Morgan, and he probably wouldn't have been there at 41. He must have graded Morgan over Barton and Guyon. There will be quality at 41, or they can move up and get Dijon, Kool-Aid, Edgerrin, Cooper. And again, those are all things there. And we're very – people get in their feelings. Most people are understanding that I'm nitpicking the stock value. If Jordan Morgan hits, it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter where they pick him. But this does, to me, just seem like he reached a little bit. Rutledge is an idiot guy. Apparently not aware that we do a radio show to entertain and to have overreactions and to be passionate. But Jim is more reactionary than my 5-year-old nephew. You act as though the draft is over and the Packers squandered their chances. I'm glad you have zero involvement in my Packers. Rutledge is an idiot guy. Unless that's Mark Murphy, you too have zero involvement in the Green Bay Packers. Yours truly, Rutledge is an idiot guy.
He probably owns stock.
Yes, so zero involvement. If you own stock, then I feel bad for you.
Hey, watch it. I own stock.
I feel bad for you.
Why?
Can I sell you some magic beans?
They
would hold more value than that. I feel like beans are worth more than paper.
You know what? That is phony baloney because I guarantee that if the city of Chicago... I didn't say it.
You
The
didn't,
city
and you weren't
of
even trying to
Chicago.
say it. You weren't even trying to say the word that I had to dump. You were just combining city and Chicago into one.
Exactly. But the
That is
city.
it's an accurate description of Chicago. Just combine those two words together.
Oh, really? All right. Go ahead.
If Chicago was to sell stock in the Chicago Bears, you would 100% buy it, and you would have it framed on your desk. Yes, you would.
If you went to my house, you would see barely any Bear stuff
That's
at my house.
because you're not allowed to have Bear stuff at your house.
My wife has bought some Walter Payton. I would not buy a worthless piece of paper. I would not do it.
Yes, you would.
I wouldn't. You're the only fan base. If that was the case, every other team would be doing this sort of thing.
What do you mean?
They'd create some manufactured thing that you could open up a 0.5% of team ownership to the fan base.
What about like the bricks that are at different places that say Jim Rutledge or the Rutledge family 2024?
We own one brick, and it's where we got married. That's it. I wouldn't do that either.
Thank you.
It's where we got married.
You wouldn't do it. You just said that you have it.
But it's where we got married. Like,
No,
what's
you
more
and
important?
10,000 other people. What do you mean?
It's not that many people got married. It's the Lucier Family
Take that
Heritage
for
Center.
that.
We got married there. We bought a brick. Yes. So
I'm not trying to throw stones
But
at you.
again,
when you're
that
walking
brick
by.
holds more value. I would buy a seat from Wrigley Field. I would have, if you bought a part of a bleacher from Lambeau Field, I'd be like, that makes a lot of sense. You bought a piece of paper, you
No,
literally
you
could
see,
just
you
print
would probably that you're saying that right now, but then you would probably say that's so stupid. You guys have bleachers; those are the worst seats you could possibly sit on.
Look, now you're arguing counterfactuals. There are cool memorabilia that you can have. I'm not saying
Stock
that's
is one of them.
No.
Yes, it is.
That is
I bought it. We bought it for my parents
when
for
I was
a gift
when I was
a
in
couple years
Florida,
ago.
everyone would come up to me and be like, "Wait, did the Packers really just sell paper and call it stock?" And they did not believe me that was a real thing that the Packers get away with.
You get invited to the shareholders meeting. I get invited every year now.
So, anyways,
I'm good with
when
it.
I was in Florida, that's literally the number one question people ask me. It's about cheese, and then wait, do Packer fans really just buy paper for $300 and call it stock?
Yes,
yeah.
we do.
You cosplay as shareholders. It's fine.
At least I don't have at least my basement
I'm not going to
isn't
yuck your yum.
formed
If you
into-
want to cosplay as a shareholder, have at it.
At least my basement isn't like
You're like a baron?
owner's cave. What did you just say? A what?
You're like a baron, you're like a stock baron. Look at all these Packer stocks I own.
I'm making money off of them.
Like an oil baron, she's just got nacho cheese running down the walls.
Right, exactly. It's like there will be blood.
There will be cheese.
Yeah, there will be cheese. She's walking around with her stock papers with cheese just spraying up in the yard.
I drank your milkshake.
I think these are movie references that I'm not getting right now.
That's correct.
I'm just giggling just to be involved. Appreciate it.
Rutledge is an idiot guy. Burned me good. People have paper in their pockets and call it cash. Well, that's just... I'll take your paper then, Rutledge is an idiot guy. You can go ahead and that to me. But let's get into the breakdown from ESPN of the pick of Jordan Morgan. Pre-draft analysis. Morgan started 37 games at left tackle at Arizona. He has big hands.
Go Cats.
And he's tough to beat when they get inside pass pro. He has the balance and body to control and mirror and recover when he gets caught out of position. And he gets into position and walls off defenders in the run game. Morgan has short arms for an offensive tackle and may need to move to guard. But there's enough of a frame and skill set to start him at tackle. Post-draft analysis. Morgan, a college left tackle, will make an expected move to the inside once in the pros. The Packers will shuffle their offensive line with Zach Tom potentially moving to center in the future, and that's where Morgan's versatility comes into play. His experience at tackle, plus his agility and movement, had NFL teams thinking he could play any of the 5 offensive line positions. The Packers love versatility up front. Morgan has tons of it. Overall value. Slight reach. It's not unusual for tackles to get drafted earlier than their ranking. So the Packers taking 40th overall player isn't a big surprise, but I'm surprised they didn't target Tyler Guyton out of Oklahoma, who's more of a true tackle. So in this comp, the Packers drafted a guard or interior lineman / swing backup tackle at 25. But this is slight reach. What do you think about that review? Does that get you excited?
Hey now.
Yeah.
So
no,
hard,
I mean,
it's so much harder hosting with Molly. Everything I say can sound like an innuendo. I was just asking, does that as
Wait,
a Packers
what did you
fan,
ask me?
I said, does that get you excited? And
Oh,
then it's like,
I apologize.
that's why he went with the hey now.
I didn't even notice.
I have to be allowed to
I'm
do the
used
same radio show I do with Molly that I do with Matt.
Please
All
do
right.
not treat me any differently. I don't hate the pick, so it's hard for me to say, oh, this is a terrible draft analysis of him. I don't dislike the idea of getting somebody for the offensive line. Now, I think it's going to be interesting the way that they can swing him and where they're going to put him. But I think that's honestly one of the biggest qualities that the Packers look for in their offensive linemen is versatility. We've seen that in the last couple of years, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So it sounds like he can fit that mold.
But this review makes me feel worse because I think I would just rather take Graham Barton, who is an interior guy and has versatility and viewed as a far better prospect. He doesn't, in theory, he didn't play tackle, or he did play tackle a little bit. He projects inside. Morgan, I guess maybe he could play right tackle. But it sounds right here that the Packers might take, honestly, reading that, I think the Packers are going to take a left tackle in today as well. And then they're going to move Tom inside and maybe put this guy at right tackle, take another left tackle, and continue to move, and then adjust their offensive line. And then that gives you depth. Yeah, then you move Myers to backup, you move Walker to backup, and you have depth there. Injuries are inevitably going to happen. So, that's not...
It's not crazy.
Again, it's just... It feels high for me to draft an interior lineman, which that's where Morgan's projecting to.
I'm assuming that if they drafted him at this position, Goody's great, and Goody falling in love with this guy means that he thinks he's going to be a left tackle. Maybe not right away, but eventually. Kind of like, I don't know, maybe like David Bakhtiari style, where they originally drafted him to be a swing tackle back up behind Brian Bulaga, but then I think Brian Bulaga, that's the season he was hurt. Mm-hmm. So then he had to step in right away. But I think they want to bring Jordan Morgan along slowly to be the left tackle of the future. That's the only I think Jim's criticism is fair. If it is an interior offensive lineman who they drafted this position, there are other guys who are better.
And Jordan Morgan, if I was betting now, he will be on this roster and a starting lineman on this roster for the next 4 years. I would bet that for sure. So, it's not a... And again, picking at 25, there's not a lot of pressure or weight to the pick. If he turns out to be fine and he's a starter somewhere, you got what you're looking for. He could turn out to be Zach Tom, but Zach Tom was a third rounder. That's all. But again, you're going to pick guys in the third or fourth round, they're going to come up. All I'm saying is that my only criticism of the pick, because I refuse to attack the player unless it's something ridiculous, like even a Michael Penix one, I think Michael Penix might be good. I don't think with Atlanta, I don't think he fits their offensive style / he was overdrafted. That's my critique, because otherwise we're all just guessing, including Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze. But Caleb Williams, for the Bears, first overall pick and viewed as the number 1 overall prospect in the draft. Rome Odunze was viewed as the 8th overall prospect in the draft, drafted 9th overall. So the Bears at least hit on the value part of it. The rest is TBD. Packers stretched on the value, but it doesn't break the pick. I just think they could have gotten more. I hate draft grades. I won't even read draft grades. I would just say that they reached. That's it.
So if you had to give this a draft grade, what is it?
I won't, though, because they're all incomplete. I think that the value grade, I would give it a C. Like the value of the pick, where they picked it, I'd give a C. They could have done more. They paid more for this pick than they needed to because they should have been able to do something with this pick. That's it.
But I still think there's the idea that you're about to pay Jordan Love a crap ton of money, that I think that you need to show that you are invested in protecting him.
Yep.
And by taking Jordan Morgan, let's say in your mind, this early in the draft,
yep,
I think it kind of proves that, you want Jordan Love, you want him to stay healthy, you want to pay him big bucks, you want to protect him. Yep. You got to get the guy that you think it is.
And again, it's not the position. I'll just say this. I think Graham Barton will be a better player, who was picked right after him, who will probably step right in with Tampa, and I think Graham Barton will be a better player. But I don't think Jordan Morgan is going to be a washout. I would imagine that he will be a starting offensive lineman. Rutledge Ugly Duckling guy chimes in.
Oh, that's a new guy. Who's that?
Yes, don't be hating on Molly Brown for being a Packers shareholder. Jim Rutledge, a.k.a. the Ugly Duckling, because he's a Bears fan of ESPN Madison, LOL. So Rutledge is a Ugly Duckling guy. That's nice. That's friendly. I'll take that banter.
Is that his name in our system?
That's what I just named him as, yeah. So now we know. If you want to put your name in there, otherwise, it's not like if you rip me, I'm going to give you a nickname. It's just they didn't have a name on it. And if I can pull a nickname off of it, I'll give you a nickname. I like nicknames on here. We have Rutledge is an idiot guy. I honestly forget what their original name was. We have Ryan, our psychedelic advisor. I like nicknames for our fans, and this one is Rutledge is an ugly duckling guy. Duckling. That's hard to say. Rutledge is an ugly duckling guy.
Let's just watch your words. We have already used the dump button once.
Thanks
to you, Jim Rutledge.
Not thanks to me.
You got me all fired up about being a stockholder. It's your fault.
It's actually your fault for being a stockholder. JK Security Solution, they want to protect your home and business. With Control4, they can help control everything at your home. They also can help protect your home with Control4. They also have home automation, again, all included with Control4. They have fire protection, commercial fire protection, all that with J&K Security Solutions, a locally owned, family-owned business. This is Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light.
You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light. Need more of Judgmental Jim? Subscribe to the Rutledge and Hamilton podcast, presented by Revive Restoration, wherever you get your podcasts.
Life has its moments, times to remember and share. Make the most of those special occasions by visiting Goodman's Jewelers at 220 State Street. John Hayes from Goodman's Jewelers. We're here to help you make that perfect selection for your memorable moment. When you think of diamonds, you hear about color, cut, clarity, and carat weight. We can help you understand that. But we're equally concerned with earning your trust with the quality of our selection and our service. Goodman'sJewelers.com, in the heart of downtown Madison. Truly a destination worth reaching.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online at hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you. Discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and a range of treatment options, including trusted generic alternatives to the name brands, at up to 95% off. ED is personal, and at Hims, so is treating it. Just go to hims.com/joy and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free, with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit, hims.com/joy.
What is a better buying experience? Well, you're minutes away from a better buying experience at Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb. Jim Rutledge here. To me, a better buying experience is a personal experience. That's what Dan and his sales team have set up at Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb. You're going to have the experience that you're looking for. You're going to define what that better buying experience is for you, and they're going to get you in the vehicle that you need and that you want, whether it's new or new to you. So when you're looking for a better buying experience, go to Simden Chevy in Mount Horeb.
ESPN Wisconsin's Mark Tauscher here for my friends at Kohler Services. If you need a bath or shower remodel, turn to Kohler Services. Family owned for 150 years, Kohler is your Wisconsin manufacturer providing care for life. And this month only, pay 0 interest for 12 months and get a free shower door with your Lugstone shower remodel. Visit KohlerServicesWI.com to request your free quote with fast, professional installation always included. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Moms, daughters, sisters, aunts, and friends, Stoughton Health encourages you to remind the women in your life how important they are. All women 40 and older should schedule their annual mammogram. Stoughton Health uses 3D technology for better, earlier breast cancer detection. All mammogram appointments in May will receive a free pink carnation. Stoughton Health accepts over 160 insurances, including Dean and Quartz. To schedule your appointment, call 608-873-2299. Stoughton Health, creating excellence together.
Greg Scalzo here for Buck and Honey's. Congratulations to the perennial Best of Madison Award winner by the folks at Madison Magazine. Meet me at Buck and Honey's to celebrate Wisconsin hospitality. Whether you're enjoying the view on the Yahara River in Monona, exploring Wanakee, visiting the OG in Sun Prairie, or checking out the new location in Mount Horeb, you can enjoy the Buck and Honey's experience in a neighborhood near you. Serving lunch and dinner 7 days a week with brunch every Saturday and Sunday. I'll see you at Buck and Honey's.
You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton on 100.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Carbon World Health.
Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light, continues live from the Everlight Solar Studio. Hamilton, still gone. Molly Brown in for Matt Hamilton. And we are taking your calls on the Green Bay Packers first-round pick, Jordan Morgan. 844-770-3776 is how you get in. Apparently, 12-2 is a big people on YouTube time because we have a lot of comments on there. So I'm going to try to work through some of these. Mike Vandenbroek chimes in. You don't know who anyone is going to be, question mark, but they took him too high, question mark. That's why all the relentless speculation on the draft, question mark.
Okay.
So I don't know what any of that means.
But questions.
Mark Who cares? A bunch of media guys make a consensus board. Who cares? Well, Mark, the consensus board is gathered by scouts and talking to teams, and it's not just like, I like this guy, I'm going to slap it up there. But regardless...
Which that made the draft kind of boring yesterday, right? Like all the different mock drafts that pretty much had exactly how it was going up until that Falcons pick. I think that was really the one that kind of threw a wrench into everything. But like beyond that, it was kind of just like, yep, we knew this was happening.
Nate the Great chimes in, Packers reach no doubt. Turco chimes in, when will the Packers reach a Super Bowl again? You also have, and then we have, it's hard to like avoid the conversations on here. David Garcia chimes in, if Love doesn't have a sophomore slump, they could be picking 32nd next year, as far as, you know, a little conversation there about the Packers. I doubt that he would have a slump that would put him at 30. I doubt that he plays into the Super Bowl, and I doubt that he has a slump. I think you're going to get a marginally better, and marginally is not like a bad word. I just, you're going to see a Jordan Love have a
better
very
than 9 games.
Yeah, you're going to see a whole season of consistency out of Jordan Love, but I also feel like you might get 1 or 2 splash games, and then maybe you get 1 bad game, and everything else is just sometimes 2 touchdowns, sometimes 3, sometimes 1, 66% completion percentage every game, 250 maybe yards. So they're going to run the ball a lot, and the offense is going to be more competent in the red zone, more consistent. And so I think the Packers, they took a tougher schedule. The NFC North got tougher. I think they're going to win 10 games. That'll put them right in the mix for the division with Detroit, and Jordan Love will probably be a Pro Bowler.
Okay, so do you think Packers fans would be happy with that, or are we kind of at the point where it's Super Bowl or bust?
You tell me. Because what I said is it's not like some sort of hate. Like, that's a pretty...
No, for sure.
It's pretty.
I mean, it's tough because going into last year, I was like, I had 0 expectations, and I honestly kind of loved it. Of course, October was brutal. Like, being a Packers fan at that point in time was awful, and I hated it. But now going into this year, I kind of hate it because I have expectations now, where I'm like, last year, we didn't even know how many games they were going to win, but it's like looking at last year, they should have gone to the NFC Championship game at least. By the way that game against the San Francisco 49ers was, it was like, now I look at it, I'm like, I'm still pissed that they didn't make it to the NFC Championship game. So now moving forward, I'm like, I don't know how I feel, because all the things that you just said, I'm like, if Jordan Love puts together basically a consistent string and has maybe like 1 game that's not great, I don't think you can be mad at it.
So,
but I don't know how I should feel about the Packers moving into next year.
Well, because here's the part where... And I'm not saying this to be negative on the Packers, but this is almost giving the Packers a break. That last year, the Saints missed a very makeable field goal.
Yep.
That would have, the Packers would have been out of the playoffs. They played the Rams at home without Matthew Stafford.
Mm-hmm.
So those 2 games right there, they go a different way, which is not a big stretch. Jordan Love, you still feel good about him. He still had a hot end of the season, but they wouldn't have had the playoff game, the playoff win. And you would have probably assumed that then this year, this team, you would have been great with 10 wins. So, like, I think 10 wins in a Pro Bowl type season, even if he doesn't get there for Jordan Love, would actually be a pretty fair growth. And that's my whole point, is that you're looking at growth of like, oh, we got to go from 9 to higher. But last year, your 9 wins, things kind of broke your way. You played Minnesota without Kirk Cousins.
Too, though.
It is. So I'm not ripping what happened last year. I'm saying that could set up higher expectations than maybe what's fair for the Packers. That's what I'm saying. It's not that the Packers season last year was invalid. It absolutely is valid, because what they did was important and they got those wins. But it also could set up a situation where Packer fans, like any fan base, be like, well, we won 9 last year in a playoff game. We are easily winning 11. When realistically, they caught a few breaks. Maybe they win 10 games this year. Maybe they win they compete for the division, and maybe they lose in the first round of the playoffs, and they could be a better football team. Like, that's not out of the realm of possibility. The Packers will be a better football team next year. But they'll have a tougher schedule. Maybe a few breaks go against them, and maybe they win 10 games. And Jordan Love has another season statistically exactly the same. He just gets there differently. That's a hell of a season.
Mm-hmm.
And that could very well be the case. But, what are you going to – that's not a bad season. We're going to take a break here and come back. We're going to talk with Ben Brust about the Packers draft, and we're going to do betting with Brust. This is Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light.
This is Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light. Watch every show live and for free on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. Rah. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin present your Badger Minute. Here's Alex Strofe.
Varsity on Wisconsin On Demand is home to all the latest and best Badgers content on ESPN Wisconsin. Subscribe on Apple, Spotify, Wisconsin On Demand, and wherever you get your podcasts. As the conversation about the NCAA transfer portal and name, image, likeness erupts, Wisconsin men's basketball head coach Greg Gard joined Wilde and Tausch this week to talk about the ongoing issues.
We've got to figure out the best path going forward nationally to put ourselves in the best position where there is it revenue sharing? I don't know what the answer is. Nobody has the answer. That's why we're sitting here in this position.
Find the full conversation with Greg Gard on Wisconsin On Demand or wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Wilde and Tausch.
Get 0% interest for up to 36 months or no down payment, no interest, and no payments for up to 18 months. Book before April 30th at PellaWI.com.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we get you tires and batteries, trust and care, because we get you. So get out on the road and stay safe with quality automotive parts and service at unbeatable prices. Right now, select tires are buy 3, get 1 free with up to $100 consumer rebate on select Cooper tires when you buy 4 by the end of April. All Trico wiper blades are buy 1, get 1 half price. Plus doorbusters like assorted Rust-Oleum 2X spray paints, just $4.99. Tires and batteries, trust and care at Blaine's Farm and Fleet.
This update is sponsored by UW Credit Union. For every stage of life, UW Credit Union is here for every you. Fans, here's your Quick Trip to the Ballpark ticket offer. Spend $200 at participating Quick Trip locations and get a free Terrace Reserve ticket to a 2024 Brewers home game. Check brewers.com/quicktrip for more details. Join UW Credit Union at uwcu.org. Insured by NCUA.
The biggest names in the basketball world.
Dame, Dollar, Lillard.
Having fun and honest conversations.
He puts it in the shoe, right? And sets the tone for brothers and sisters and family.
Every week, Thanasis Adetokounmpo sits down with special guests on Thanalysis Show. Presented by Carbless ready-to-drink cocktails.
Fantastic.
Find Thanalysis Show on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. And on YouTube by searching Thanalysis Show.
Listen to Wilde and Tausch, presented by Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin on 100.5 ESPN.
Yeah, this is for Mark Tausch, or Tausch, as they say. Mark, I wrote you up. I scouted you. Last time I checked, you went in the 7th round, so I kind of overrated you with the 6th round grade. You were trying to destroy my career of 46 years, and I don't appreciate it.
Wilde and Tausch, weekdays 9 to noon on 100.5 ESPN. Also brought to you by Paulman Lindsay Paints, Coors Light, Made to Chill, and American Family Insurance. You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton on 100.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Ho-Chunk Gaming Madison.
To midcourt. Rust has it. Lets it go.
Ben won. You got 9.
Let's go. Ben got 9.
We are 7-point favorites at home against Illinois. 7. Go be the money!
Music means it's time for Betting with Brust. We usually talk to Ben Brust after he does his show, so we get a non-worked up Ben Brust. This is he might be a little rusty, because usually he does a whole show and then he joins us. Now we get him pre-show. We're interrupting his show prep. Obviously that show, KBN, clearly one of the most prepped shows in Wisconsin if you listen to it. But Ben, thank you for hopping on, and it's Jim Rutledge and Molly Brown with you, Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light. And I guess I'll ask you this first. What are your thoughts on the Packers draft pick? Mine is I don't know. He might be a good player. It felt like a little bit of a reach, especially since he projects from a lot of people as an interior lineman. But it's not a bad pick. It's just kind of all right, they probably got a starter at 25, either this year or next.
I mean, to be honest, I like it. I like the pick. I'm not saying it's in a lot of this, again, when you do post-draft grades, nobody knows. Nobody knows. But in terms of the philosophy,
that's unfair. Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of the philosophy, I like the philosophy. You know why? Because Goot, from an offensive line perspective, clearly has found a certain type of offensive lineman he's looking for, and that's a guy who can play multiple positions. And right away, he said, this is a guy that I think can play 4 positions. The only one I'm guessing he's not thinking about is center, which is good because you know why? They've had a good offensive line and pass protection. If he turns out to be a left tackle, That's great. You move Rasheed Walker right tackle. There's been talks about Zach Tom to center. They build depth at the offensive line. I know we're talking about the offensive line, which isn't the most exciting thing in the entire world. But when you have an offense that's predicated on giving your quarterback time for the progressions in the Matt LaFleur system to let the reads go into play, and if they have all these guys and they're not going to have a number one, let the plays develop. And you know how you can get the guys the ball? Protection. So I can't knock building depth around a quarterback that you believe in.
And that all makes sense. My only other point was that, like, Mitchell, who was viewed as a higher prospect than where he was drafted, was only 3 picks away. Like, you could have solved a issue. Like, you need a starting corner opposite of Jair Alexander / Jair. You don't know what you get in every game. Like, Mitchell could have changed the complexion of your defense, and you would have had to move up 3 spots to get him. But Goody hoards draft picks like they're truffles. Like, his thing is, I'm never going to trade up, but I'll overdraft a guy. Like, so
I hear you, and that's the thing is, like, when I saw Mitchell get drafted, and I watched them break down what he did and how he played the Senior Bowl coming out of Toledo, I was like, I'm really intrigued by this guy. But, like, then I started thinking more. I was like, well, this isn't a Goody guy. It's not a Goody guy, and this was a Goody philosophy that he's stuck with. He hit the measurables from the RAS score that everyone points to when you look at Goody's draft selection. So it was a Goody pick, and I like the pick. I don't like. It's hard. I can't be in love with the pick until I know what he does for the team in the offensive line. If he becomes a left tackle, right? Some people say they might move him to interior play guard, but if he becomes a left tackle and he's great, obviously it's a home run. If he becomes a guard and a long-term starter, it's still a win. But the Packers haven't drafted an offensive lineman in the first round for a while because they continuously hit these 3rd and 4th round guys that end up being starters for them on the offensive line. So he must really, really, really like him. And so I will give Goody the benefit of the doubt right now. I still want him to prove it to me continuously. I'm not an in Goody we trust guy. But right now, based off of last year, there were guys that, he graded high and got, and they turned out really good. And if he graded this guy higher than other guys did and he wanted him, their pick was in pretty quick. So that tells the confidence that Goody has, and we'll see how it plays out.
That much is 100% sure, and I agree with you on it. He earns a pass. It's a 1-year pass, but this year you got to be like, all right, we'll give it to him, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's not a full pass. Yeah, it is a 1-year pass. Like you can't write like we did. Are you in Goody we trust, or still prove it to me? And 75% were in Goody we trust, and I was like, man, you must close your eyes when you look at 2020 and 2021. And I'm not even sold like on the fact that if you have 4 first rounders, those are the guys. And I know Friday, Saturday, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, you can get guys to fill roster. But you know how you get game-changing players right away that can make an impact in year 2 and like flip the field, make big plays? Quay Walker hasn't done that. Devontae Wyatt hasn't made a big impact. Eric Stokes has been hurt, and LVN we still don't know. So that's a big portion of like how you're graded as a GM. I think 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round gets that have turned into great players for this team is wonderful. But if you want to win a Super Bowl as well, hitting one of those is important as well.
Yeah, you know what? We'll say this. If I'm not mistaken here, Ryan, it's still in Ben we trust for betting with Brust, right? Because he's still crushing it.
Ben is our ace.
Now, we do have Ron and Key insinuating that Ben maybe didn't do well by his co-host and a teammate last week.
Oh.
That's a DM that I got in here. I don't know exactly what that is, but on this show, Ben is still making money for our listeners if they are so inclined to do so.
That is correct.
Hey, if I can take a swing on my show and miss, and swing here and hit, no one needs to know that I missed on my show.
Just like Goody with draft picks. Hey.
That wasn't as good as you thought.
No, it wasn't. But let's get to betting with Brust.
It's not a look-ahead spot for this team. It's a bounce-back spot for this team.
Look at me. Your money. You know what else? You're a big winner tonight.
I saw some absolute snacks in the NFL.
You better lock it up.
I'm pounding the over on that.
No, you lock it up. You lock it up.
This is how I win.
What's your lock of the week?
Yeah, now, Ben, you might have been letting down the KBN crew last week, but you were the only correct respondent on last week's Betting with Brust right here. Yes, you said that Damian Lillard would have more combined points and rebounds than Tyrese Halliburton in the Bucks-Pacers Game 1. Dame finished with 38 combined points, rebounds, 35 points, 3 assists, and then Tyrese Halliburton only finished with a combined 17 and 9 points, 8 assists. Jim and Strofe both saying that Halliburton would come out with more. Good game 1 for the Bucks. Not so good in game 2, though. We didn't get any locks of the week for you guys, though. So, Ben, why don't you kick us off this week? What's your lock of the week?
It is at 4:30 right here on 100.5 ESPN Madison. This is a perfect spot for the Pacers to build off of what they did offensively and do it at home. The team total for the Indiana Pacers, over under 114.5. I will go over 114.5. I think the Pacers get at least 125.
Jim, what do you got for us?
I'm in that same game, and I see the Bucks. Pacers minus 6.5. And
that is the number.
Yeah. So I like the Bucks keeping it closer than that. So
that was as convincing as I've ever heard it.
I know. I'm gonna take the Bucks there, though.
We're gonna win a 6.
All right, Bucks plus 6.5. Molly, what do you got?
I don't even know if I want it to happen. I'd almost prefer they lose and just blow this whole thing up. But let's just go with it.
No, don't even put that out there.
Okay, I mean, he's not wrong. He's
I
not.
love the Bucks.
They're old. They're I agree. Like I love having Giannis on the team. You have an old Chris Middleton. You signed 3 years, $100 million. You know, Dame's kind of a rental at this point. It feels like Brooke Lopez is old. Like Pat Bev's old. Crowder's old. Condon hasn't done anything since 2021. They're not built to win a championship right now. They need to figure out how they're going to build around Giannis, and I'm nervous about that.
In one offseason,
I think they're also underestimating or not realizing that Giannis is getting older too, and I think us as fans don't realize that as much either. But I think these injuries are definitely showing that. But okay, so I've never played betting with Bruss. I've obviously listened, but so I can just pick anything.
Any
right
line
now?
you want, any over under, preferably from the ESPN Bet website.
Okay, so I see that Bucks Pacers over under 221 points. Is that correct or no?
Over under combined, yeah, 221 points. We can do that.
Okay, I'll go.
I got 223 here, but
oh wow, Ben.
My apologies. I will
but
go over.
We'll give Molly Brown a 1.5 for her first pick.
Thank you.
You said you picked the over there, Molly?
Yeah, let's do it.
221.5, right?
What? He just said 220. Wait, are you giving it to me at 221 or 223?
Whatever number.
221.5. We'll give.
Yeah.
We're gonna give her a 1.5. 221.5.
Thank you.
Over 221.5. All right, guys, and now for the primetime prop of the week. I was going to make it Bucks related, but you guys already splattered the board with that, so I'll keep it focused on the Packers draft picks. Guys, do you think
Great, you got to think on your feet.
Hey, I already had this prepared, Ben. I come prepared, as we all know. Will the Packers make over/under 4.5 picks between rounds 2 and 3 today? Ben, I'll start with you.
Under
4.5
Under. Yeah, I think the board just continued to follow the Packers in a way where, like, if they wanted to take a defensive back that they loved, they could. But Goody loved his offensive tackle, so he stayed put. You have 4 picks, and if there's somebody that you want to get to make an impact on this defense that you really like, I would use some capital to, again, if it's DeJean, which I don't think it is, go get him early in the second with some capital.
All right, Jim, they have 4 picks as of right now. Do they trade up and get another one today?
No. They go under that. I mean, yeah, I don't think I'm trading up to get more picks, no.
You don't think they're taking any of those day 3 picks, combining them for more day 2? You don't? No chance?
I think if
they move
up,
I don't think they're
trading picks to move up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're getting, like, I have them taking. They're not going to take more picks.
Okay.
They're not going to get more picks. I want less than 4.5 picks. They're going to make 4 picks of the 5.
All right, I'm just saying, Goody loves hoarding picks. Maybe he's hoarding picks on day 2. Thought that was his kink. That's his thing. Jim Rutledge's been saying that for the last 45 minutes.
Stop saying Goody has a kink.
I said his kink was he falls in love with players, and instead of trading up for them, he just overdrafts them.
He falls in love with Jordans, Jim.
Jordans, yes.
That's what it is. All right, Molly.
So does Jim.
That he does.
I agree with both these guys. However, I am going to manifest that he is going to get Cooper DeJean, so I'm going to say that he's going to put together a package.
Is that just because he's an Iowa guy? Like, you're just...
Partially biased, but I want him. Like, I don't want him to be the next Josh Jackson, obviously, but like...
Micah Hyde, then?
Hey, Micah Hyde is still playing.
That would be a great pick.
But it's just
Micah Hyde would be
Packers
great.
got rid of him way too early. But I want Cooper DeJean. I am putting it out into the universe. They're going to get him. They're going to put together a package, and they're going to get him today.
All right.
Part of me is like with this Cooper DeJean thing, like, not to get into race, but like, I mean, we are the whitest state in the world. Like this is, it would be so just classic. You know what I mean? Like, of all the places that Cooper DeJean would land.
Simmons tweet something out similar to that, of like the dream died that they would get the next Jason Sehorn in Green Bay.
Let's go.
So yeah, no, that's fair. It would add to it. Badger basketball doesn't help either, Benny.
No, exactly. Like we were white. Like we were very white.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Cool shot, Molly. Cool.
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me their starting lineup.
Oh God, what is it?
Free tag.
Let's do this exercise real quick. What is it?
Free tag.
Yep.
Who's not white?
Yep.
Klesmet, who is white.
Double white, actually.
Double. Klesmet gets
white.
2 white.
Yeah.
Kral is triple white.
Yep.
Is it Carter Gilmore?
It could be right now. I don't know. Quadruple white.
That's quadruple white.
Yeah.
Gosh darn it.
It's a big
And
tall
I'm
glass of milk
blanking right
over
now
here.
on the
Did
third.
you name
University
5?
of
I think you're only
Wisconsin.
at 4.
Blackwell.
I'm at 4.
Oh, okay.
I know the Blackwell. Oh,
Yeah.
that's never mind.
There we go. So,
Oh
You
gosh.
see how long that took you guys? That was ridiculous.
Cool.
It's
Oh well,
Nobody
there's still
on this team.
time in the portal. I'm not saying we're gonna grab
you
a
mean
Power
there's more
5 guy
time
for a
for
million.
more guys to enter the portal from Wisconsin? You're right. That's true.
whoa. Who's left?
I mean-
that's not a Freitag.
Where are they going to go?
Freitag's excited.
Yeah.
Klesmet is Klesmet. Like, he's a good player, and he like grew up in Wisconsin. He ain't going anywhere. Carter Gilmore would have to transfer to NAIA.
Well, like, there's very few teams that play the way, like Purdue, I guess, but like there's not a lot of teams that
But,
play
like,
the way
no.
Wisconsin plays. That
Purdue, you guess, but Purdue will just find another 7-3-1.
right, exactly. He's not big
Not a
enough for that.
6-10-1.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, Ben, hopefully next time we talk, the Badgers at least have enough for a roster. Like, to have.
We got 5.
Who do you believe in more, the Badgers and Greg Gard or the Bucks against the Pacers?
It's a fantastic question.
It is.
Oh man. Oh my God. I think my hesitancy says it all. Are you waiting for an answer?
Wisconsin. Isn't that how it goes? When you say hesitancy,
you
say
rah
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
All right, Ben, we'll send you out on that high note for your show.
Yeah.
Maybe you can use
This
that
has been
question in your
depressing.
show. You're welcome.
Yeah,
well, no, Molly. I want to keep the energy high. I don't want to be like crying and reminiscing about the Banner Year podcast I put together.
It's not Fair. Your fault.
All right, Ben. Thank you. We'll listen to you at 2:00.
All right. Have a good rest of the show.
That's Ben Brust. You can listen to him, Kyle Brust and Nortman, 2 till 4 every day here on ESPN Madison. Rutledge and Hamilton usually comes on at 4. Today we're not. The Bucks kicking us off the air. This is Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light.
If you're looking for a special piece of jewelry for any occasion, Condon Jewelers is always there for you. Condon Jewelers has the best selection of jewelry you'll ever find and guaranteed to have the lowest prices in the Madison area. Free shipping is always available. Visit CondonJeweler.com or call 241-3406 and ask for Jim, the owner, who's at the store every day. Shop locally. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
This is Derek Engler. You're listening to a Good Karma Brands radio station, 100.5 ESPN WTLX Monona, Madison.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio, this is your Metro Kia of Madison Sports Center.
Good afternoon, Madison. I'm Ryan Wollersheim, and this is your Sports Center update brought to you by ESPN Wisconsin Draft Night. Watch rounds 2 and 3 tonight, along with reactions, insight, and analysis from many of your favorite ESPN Wisconsin hosts. ESPN Wisconsin Draft Night streaming 6 o'clock on the ESPN Madison YouTube channel. Those will be reacting to the Packers pick on day 1. Jordan Morgan, offensive tackle out of the University of Arizona, Packers took him at pick number 25. He started 37 career games at left tackle, though Packers GM Brian Gutekunst thinks that Morgan can bring a level of versatility that the team covets in many of its offensive linemen.
Versatile offensive lineman like we like, really athletic. We really kind of feel he could probably play 4 positions for us. Two-time team captain, just our kind of guy. And I'm really excited to get him, and, it'll be good to get him up here. But I think when you guys get a chance to meet him, you'll really like him.
Make sure to tune in starting at 6 p.m. to see what the Packers do with their 4 picks on day 2 of the NFL Draft. Also, head over to ESPNWisconsin.com for continuing coverage of all things green and gold this offseason. Second hour of Rutledge and Hamilton. Jim Rutledge, Molly Brown starts right now.
Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealer. Stop into Metro Kia on the east side of Madison or metrokiaofmadison.com.
You got the chill.
Everybody's ego takes a shot on this show.
This is Rutledge and Hamilton with Jim Rutledge and Matt Hamilton.
People like me.
That's some booty, Jim.
Presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN.
Everyone is so mean to me.
I am Jim Rutledge.
You never go full Rutledge.
There is not a lot of things more satisfying than
if you're the Green Bay Packers, you want the quarterbacks to go because it knocks one more player down to the Packers spot.
Goody, he's got the ammunition that if he really wants to make a splash, he can go up pretty high.
Broadcasting live from the Everlight Solar Studio with downtown Molly Brown. Here's Jim Rutledge.
I will say this for the Packers pick of Jordan Morgan. I don't know if he had an endorsement deal with the Buffalo Wild Wings or if it was just happened to be a picture of him in front of a bunch of Buffalo Wild Wings. But I did send this tweet to Alex Strofe, who is the king of chain restaurants. And someone retweeted the picture of Jordan Morgan and said, imagine how excited he's going to be when he realizes there's a Buffalo Wild Wings right across the street from Lambeau Field.
Let's go.
Essentially. So Jordan Morgan fits right in. His love of generic tasting chain restaurants will be quenched in Green Bay, Wisconsin. I mean, if you love food that all tastes the same with just different logo on it, Green Bay is the place for you. This is
almost like
Hamilton.
Chicago sports teams. All the same product, just different logo. Always underachieving, not quite ever getting to the level that they think they are.
Boom, boom, boom.
I would say that Chicago has a title more recently than the city of Green Bay. The Cubs won a World Series.
The city of Green Bay, but the state of Wisconsin?
Okay, the Bucks got one.
Okay.
Then the Cubs got
There you
one.
go.
So that's 1-1.
More recent, though, is the Milwaukee Bucks.
Also, who
True.
cares
They
more?
always
Do
say.
people care more about NBA or MLB?
In Chicago, the Cubs was the
NBA.
biggest thing. Well, no.
NBA.
Half the city of Chicago even
greater
cares
than
about
baseball.
I'm sorry. Well, wait, no. I'm sorry. That's an argument you're going to lose. The Cubs breaking the curse is one of the biggest stories in all of sports.
No. I'm
and
just
the
saying.
city of Chicago.
I'm not saying just Chicago. I'm saying nobody cares about baseball.
In Wisconsin,
Baseball
outside of
stinks.
like downtown Milwaukee, nobody cares about the Bucks.
Jim, you don't even watch. You
That's
admit you don't like baseball. You
I
say
loved
it
it back
yourself.
then.
I loved it back in 2016
I
when
did.
my team was good.
I love it when
I had
my
a
team wins.
No, you're
Same.
right. Absolutely. But I will say this: I had a baby. I was up more. I watched a lot more games. That you're right. You're invested. When I thought the Cubs, I probably watched 40 games that year because I thought they had a chance to win the World Series. And that World Series, when they were down 3-1 and came all the way back and won, like. I don't know what you were trying to do. One, you couldn't attack Chicago as a city, so you had to move the goalposts.
Oh, I
So,
already
like,
attacked the city earlier.
Green Bay,
we're past that.
the chain restaurant capital of the world. If you want the same food experience at 30 different places, Green Bay is the place for you. To then all of a sudden taking a shot at Chicago sports teams. That's not what we're here for. We're trying to talk Packers, but you get your feelings.
We're not here for
getting your
that. Jim.
feelings about
No,
Chicago.
of course not. No.
but
We would never do that.
But Ryan, did you celebrate with Applebee's? Weren't they having like a special last night for the draft?
Were they
With
actually?
wings?
Oh,
you?
that's
Jim
right.
sent it to us like last week. I swear, right?
Oh my gosh, that's right. I forgot they started their partnership for the draft.
Yeah.
Oh, can't wait till
Maybe it starts
2025.
today.
Oh.
Can you have it today still? I don't know if it's a first round only thing.
It's a good question.
People in Green Bay are living it up then.
Okay.
I love chain restaurants, by the way, so hate on it.
Why? Well, where you're at, you don't have many choices.
Where I'm at, there's about 3 chain restaurants.
That's what I
so-
mean. That, I don't know how many.
I don't
like
really
if you're a
eat at
local
them.
restaurateur and you're trying to get going, I don't know if you're picking a lot of these places. And so one last thing here, because it's just hard like to make money in a smaller community. So like if you're in a smaller community,
aren't you in a small community too?
I come to Madison to eat. Do I talk about all the great food places in Oregon?
Do
No.
I?
What's that?
Do I talk about all the great places where I live?
But you just said you love chain restaurants.
Yeah, I
I'm
like
saying
the,
that
I like the
Madison-
idea that they're consistent, that you can go anywhere in the country and you're
Oh.
like, oh, if I go to Chili's, I know that it's going to be fine.
Different. That's different. If you're in a
I'm
different
not
area.
saying that I'm going to choose it over a local
What I'm
restaurant.
saying is like here in Madison, we have so many great local restaurants that it is absolutely a waste of your time and money to eat at a chain restaurant ever
I would
in the
agree.
city of Madison. If I'm traveling somewhere, especially with kids, and I don't know the restaurants and I don't want to take a risk, then yeah, that's what they're there for. That's a different story. I am saying that chain restaurants where you local, especially in a place like Madison or Chicago, is not necessarily, or other Milwaukee, like you do not want to eat at Door County, go up north. Like you don't want to go to the chain restaurant. Like why would you go up north and then eat at a chain restaurant? Like that seems ridiculous. Like you're up there for a few days. You're passing through, you're making a long drive, you're staying in the airport, all that kind of stuff. Sure, why not? You just want something you know is going to taste the same. That's the purpose of them. But if you're eating at chain restaurants as like that's where I want to eat, that's probably a big F.
Depends.
That's the take. No, there's no depends.
No, there's a depends.
No, this is not like old people going to the bathroom. It is not all depends.
That is disgusting.
844-770-3776. Chain restaurants are trash. All right, so I want to chime in.
I love how Jim always, and I notice this whenever I'm listening to, especially like with Strofe, when you just don't want to hear the rest of his opinion, you're just like, this is Rutledge Hamilton presented by Coors Light.
True. The 920 and the 608 chimes in. A game stuff nickname, and I appreciate it. 275,000 people at the draft last night. Can we talk about how long the wait time for a burger at Kroll's West is going to be next year?
Take that for that.
I was actually thinking about the traffic for next year. Think about after a Packers game. How many people can fit into Lambeau Field? 80, 90,000?
It's about 90,000.
So
Close.
let's assume that there's probably 100,000 people up in Green Bay for any given Packers home game. That driving back down on 41 is atrocious, right? For the first, I don't know, up until you get past Appleton pretty much.
Yeah.
Then imagine next year. I assume that most of the people that are going to the draft are going to stay overnight in Green Bay, Appleton area, but like it's going to be atrocious.
Yeah, they'll have to build some tents probably too for the people coming in. I don't know how many hotels
Like
they
Fire
have.
Island tents?
Fire Island? Oh, wow.
Let's not put
Fire
that,
Green Bay?
Let's not put that into the ethos for what's going to happen
But
in
that's
Green Bay.
legitimately what he's
Hopefully
talking
not.
about. Making like tents. Yeah, with like
They would-
cots.
They might have to
As
build
school
some
buses
like
busing
Fire
everybody.
Island for this draft. Like we should cancel it immediately if this is what's going to happen.
Well, I mean, Goody and Mark Murphy aren't going to put the $80 million into renovations and stuff. That's what's supposed to happen.
it would be an iconic draft. I mean, you'd never forget it.
Which one, Goody or Murphy?
Goody or what do you mean, Goody?
You know
Murphy?
what I mean.
What?
844-770-3776.
I'm confused.
If
Do
you
you know
know
what
what I
Fire
mean, you
Island
know what I
is?
mean. I do, but do you know?
Oh.
Yes.
Because they need some water? Is that what you're trying to say, Jim?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
844-770-3776. I don't think you know
I'm
the story
confused
behind
because
Fire
I've watched
Island.
a lot of Fire Island documentaries, so now I'm just trying to put it together. It's been a couple years since I watched them, but
Well, you can put it together off air. I want to talk about the actual.
who's going to perform? Who was supposed to perform at Fire Island? Those famous 30 years ago.
Oh, he played at the Bucks game, too.
Ja Rule.
Yeah.
Ja Rule, there you go.
Are they going to have Ja Rule at Lambeau?
They have him at Bucks games.
That Ja Rule does scream Lambeau Field. Like
He's cheap.
Green Bay.
Affordable.
I wanted to run through the draft here for a minute, then we'll get to the Packers draft, what they're going to do here, the rest. But here are some things that I found interesting. Gosh, it's already. See, both of y'all just took me completely off track. I just want to say this. The back end of the draft, with Carolina getting Leggett, the 49ers getting Pearsall, and I love Guyton to Dallas and Worthy to the Chiefs. And I love Barton to the Bucks, like the back end, and also like the Brian Thomas to Jacksonville Jaguars and the Terrion Arnold to Alabama. Like there was some. I thought Chop
went
Robinson
to Alabama?
From Alabama to Detroit. I thought Chop Robinson
They have an NFL team, don't you know?
was a big reach for the Dolphins. I thought that was a big reach, and I thought Jarrett Verse to the Rams was a really good pick too. I thought Mims to the Bengals was a bit of a reach as well. That was just I was watching the draft. Those are some things that popped into my head, and I think Latu with the Colts could end up being the steal of the draft.
If his neck doesn't break
That's
off
why I
on
said
the
could,
field. Yeah.
because if he had clean health, he's a top 5 pick.
Yeah.
And so I love it at 15. That's a huge value pick.
A fused neck at 23. That's
absolutely.
Gross.
That's why he fell, because otherwise he is premier. Because you watch him play, it is impressive. This is Rutledge and Hamilton. You know what I'm doing this weekend? I'm going to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse with my wife because my birthday was on Monday, so we're going to do the birthday dinner over at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse on Saturday. Maybe we'll share the porterhouse. Maybe we'll do the cowboy ribeye. Whatever it is, we're going to have a great experience over at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton, whether it's a date night, sizzle, swizzle, and swirl happy hour, whatever the occasion is, go to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse in Middleton. This is Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light.
You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light. Also brought to you by J&K Security Solutions, securing homes and businesses in the Madison area since 1987.
Your Honda gets you everywhere. When it needs service, you need Zimbrick Honda service. Their customer service is second to none, and you can experience it yourself at 2 convenient Madison locations on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. Honda certified technicians handle it all. You can even get flexible payment options. Fix your car now and pay later. Apply online to see your options in seconds with no hard credit check. Make your service appointment online at ZimbrickHonda.com. Zimbrick Honda Service Center on Fish Hatchery Road and Grand Canyon Drive. Part of the Madison community since 1973. Shop Zimbrick Honda.
Listen to Madison Money Guy every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. on 100.5 ESPN and ESPNWisconsin.com.
I like to refer to inflation as the silent killer. It's an invisible risk. It's just the idea that things get more expensive over time. You're going to need milk and eggs when you're in your early 60s and when you're in your early 80s. You're going to get a loaf of bread, and it's going to be more expensive 20 years from now.
Christian Finfrock is the Madison Money Guy. Call him today at 208-1800.
Goodman's Jewelers has been providing sparkle to Madison since 1933. That's a lot of great memories. John Hayes for Goodman's Jewelers. We've been caring for generations of customers, and during that time our strengths have been trust, service, and selection. Those traits are who we are, and that will never change. Goodman's Jewelers, a destination worth reaching. 220 State Street, goodmansjewelers.com.
The best is at Goodman's.
Spring fishing is finally here, and Fleet Farm has everything you need to reel in more fish this year. Upgrade your gear with the best brands like Rapala, Berkeley, and St. Croix. Find exclusive flicker sheds you won't find anywhere else, starting at $12.99. Get rod and reel combos starting at only $24.99. And shop our wide selection of fishing line that starts at just $4.99. Land top fishing gear and everything else you need for everyday life at Fleet Farm.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
If you're a man over 40, feeling like you're falling off in your workouts, career, maybe even in the bedroom, it could be lower testosterone, but you can do something about it. Men across America have beaten the slump thanks to Nugenix Total T. Let's hear from some Nugenix callers. This is Ron from Dallas.
Unlike other supplements that might lead to jitters or crashes, Nugenix provides a steady increase in energy. I've experienced consistent energy levels throughout my workouts, helping me maintain the intensity from start to finish.
Frank from Chicago, you're on air.
It works, and it does everything everyone else is saying. I'm in my mid-40s. Sex drive improved, more energy, and I feel stronger.
Don't wait. Text ACTIVE to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone-boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever. Absolutely free. Text ACTIVE to 321-321. That's ACTIVE to 321-321.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Make a splash this summer at Prairie Athletic Club. Hi, this is Sarah Tauscher, inviting you to dive into excitement at Dolphins Cove Outdoor Water Park. Dolphins Cove features thrilling slides, relaxation, and entertainment for the whole family. Bring your group and enjoy the outdoor water park, tiki bar, and plenty of deck space. It's the perfect gathering place for all of your celebrations. From birthdays to corporate events, the pack has you covered. Visit prairieathletic.com to learn more today. That's prairieathletic.com. Prairie Athletic Club, family fun community.
Welcome back to Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN. Also brought to you by J&K Security Solutions.
When I see the connection, though I see, I don't stare. Though I see, I don't stare. When I'm lost in my reflection, though I see, I don't stare. Though I see, I don't stare. Then I change my direction.
Rutledge and Hamilton continues live from the Everlight Solar Studio. We are presented by Coors Light. The Mountains are blue. You know what to do.
That's Crush Coors Light.
I want to pat ourselves on the back. Molly, you weren't in yesterday, but Colin Russo and Primetime, we put together a little mock draft. I have it right here. And we can fire up some NFL music because we're also going to go through prospecting the Packers and what players are left over from prospecting the Packers. But we had number 1 overall, Caleb Williams to the Chicago Bears.
That's a pretty easy one.
Jaden Daniels to the Washington Commanders.
Easy one.
That was crazy, too. Hold on. Can I just pause there? Wasn't he projected to go in the 4th round months ago, and then he jumped up to...
He and Michael Penix were 2 massive risers in this year's class.
I don't like the Daniels. To me, that guy was not a prospect until his 5th year surrounded by first-round draft picks.
Both of them got big jumps after their 5th/6th year in college.
The 2 quarterbacks I like out of this draft in the first round are Williams and May.
Is he short?
Daniels?
Yeah.
No, he's
No, he's
tall.
like 6'3", almost 6'4".
He's like 200 pounds, though, is the problem.
Yes.
Yeah, he's tiny.
Yeah. Slight, I would say.
A lot of sunglasses last night. Did you guys pick up on that?
I did not.
A lot of bright futures out there.
What did you guys think of the outfit for Caleb Williams? The suit.
That was solid. I thought the guy who killed it was Malik Neighbors with his outfit.
Yeah, he's got some flair to him.
I really liked Daniel's outfit. Well, because his was that light blue suit, right?
I don't quite remember.
With
I was
the
not really
necklace?
watching at that point.
I think Caleb Williams it was so cheesy when they did a report on it, and then he's like, oh, he wore navy to match the color of his team that he's going to. Didn't you hear that?
He wore a shirt underneath. He took it off when he did a Bears interview, and it said the shirt underneath says Chicago.
Oh, the shirt underneath.
Yeah,
I thought
he
he
took off the
fake.
suit coat and had the shirt underneath said Chicago.
Well, I also saw they did the hologram thing with him too.
That looked really great, actually.
Well, because I assume they must have recorded that when he was on his visit to Chicago one of those times, because I don't think you can actually do that for multiple locations.
I thought they asked them questions. Maybe the top there was asking questions, so I guess it could be pre-recorded questions.
Is that technology there? I don't think that's actually a
It could be
thing.
pre-recorded. Look, every team in Chicago had all these pre-made videos.
Oh, it's
for
very
them, too.
cool. It's
Yeah.
really cool. I'm just saying that it's not like Star Trek, right?
I don't know. Maybe it is. Anyways, J.J. McCarthy at 4 we missed. But Joe Alt, we hit. Harrison, we missed. But then Latham, we hit. Neighbors, 8th. So we missed on that.
We had him at 6 to the Giants.
No, we had Harrison at 6 to the Giants.
Oh, we had Harrison at Neighbors went 6 to the Giants.
Yes, we missed that. But then Roma Dunze got right. And then...
definitely didn't have Michael Penix to the Falcons.
And did we pick the Penn State offensive lineman to go to number 10?
You have the sheet in front of you.
Fatanu?
No, that's Olu Fashanu was the one who went to the Giants.
Okay.
To the Jets.
So
Fatanu ended up going way later to Pittsburgh.
Okay. So, but I thought overall, not
Pretty
bad.
solid.
Yeah, not bad. All right, so let's get the prospecting the Packers and who is left. This is Rutledge and Hamilton. So now we look at the Packers. They have 4 picks today at a minimum.
Yep.
4 picks today. And it is interesting. I do hold, for me, how many picks, and this is a sliding scale, so we could talk about this, because I don't want to put Minnesota in this. This J.J. McCarthy thing that's harder to figure out. But they got Dallas Turner. And a lot of Packer fans today are like, well, the Bears only have this many picks today, and the Vikings only have this many. And that's fair for the Vikings. But when you have 2 picks in the top 10, that's probably pretty equivalent to having 5 in the top 100.
Well, they didn't have 2 picks in the top 10.
The Bears did.
The Bears did.
The Bears. Oh,
That's what I'm
okay.
saying. The Vikings I'm setting aside. But because that one makes sense. They gave up a lot in this draft. But the Bears are going to have 3 in the top 100 and 2 in the top 10. So to me, that's equal value of what the Packers
If you
have.
hit on them both and they're both stars.
I was going to say, don't you feel like, I'm curious, because I don't think the Packers have really ever been in this position, not that I can remember, but do you feel like that just puts so much more pressure on you?
Well, we could talk about that. Let's do this. We could talk about that on the other side here. So who's available still for the Green Bay Packers with their 4 picks today? The safety / cornerback / the Great White Hope, Cooper DeJean.
Yes.
Is available.
Don't be jealous.
Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
Jealous?
Mhm.
Why am I jealous?
That we possibly have a Swiss Army knife, and you're jealous. You're a Bears fan. You're jealous.
Jealous about a pick that the Packers haven't made yet.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
That they could make.
So
Keep manifesting it with me, people. And then we're going to have to manifest throughout the season that he's going to be good.
I'd rather have Kool-Aid McKinstry than Cooper DeJean.
Well, he's available too.
If you want a true outside corner, McKinstry is the best one remaining.
And they need one, in my opinion. So otherwise still available off our prospecting the Packers, we go down to Johnny Newton He's a heck of a player.
I would love
People like him.
Honestly, he and DeJean falling out of the first round are the two biggest shockers to me. I feel like people thought Johnny Newton was going to go maybe first defensive tackle off the board.
Yeah.
And he's a great pass rusher, too, which I think
like him a
internal
lot.
pass rush could do a lot for the Packers.
Like the Bears have the Carolina Panthers second-round pick next year. If they traded one of their, like either their second-round pick or the Carolina Panthers second-round pick next year, because the Bears, I think, have 9 or 10 picks in next year's draft, I would be fine with them going into the draft to go get Johnny Newton. So if the Packers get him, I think that's going to be a steal. I think that guy's a really good player.
Well, and I think that one's very realistic, too, with, they haven't signed Kenny Clark to his third contract.
Right. Yep.
There's a very real chance that happens.
Jackson Powers Johnson is still available. Is that correct?
Yeah, center from Oregon. He's seen as the top offensive lineman still available, I believe.
And I still think that, honestly, if I'm guessing what the Packers do today, and we didn't go more into this, maybe we can do that before the show gets out, I think they might take, a true left tackle as well.
Interesting.
Today. I think they think Jordan Morgan is that true left tackle. That's the thing.
They might think that, but why not
double up?
Yeah, COA.
Yeah.
I mean, they need more depth.
Yeah, depth honestly does not hurt for them at all right now. Honestly, Andre Dillard is in jeopardy of starting next season for them. Guy they signed off the street 2 weeks ago.
Right. And so if you went, in this imaginary scenario, let's say you draft a left tackle who you think can compete with Walker at left tackle, and let's say Jordan Morgan kicks in at right tackle, because some of the physical, a lot of that physical stuff is real as far as shorter arms and some of the, so let's say he's at right tackle, and then you move Tom to center. So then you have Zach Tom at center, you have Morgan on right tackle, Walker or new left tackle, second, third round pick at left tackle, and then you have Jenkins at left guard, and who's the right guard?
Right guard would be Royce Newman probably as of right now.
Oh yeah, so or maybe Myers moves over. I heard they like Myers more as a guard than a center.
They might, and honestly, that's the cool thing about what they've assembled on the offensive line. You can move these guys all around.
Is it possible?
Do you
think it would even happen?
The rookie?
Yeah.
Is it possible for the Packers to get rid of Josh Myers as a whole, or would that be just an incredibly dumb move because they have no depth?
Yeah, I think he's still a starting caliber center. It's just that he's not the guy you want to give a second contract to.
Right.
He's good enough to be on the team, but he's not quite good enough to be a guy who you want to keep around, and he's probably more being covered up by guys around him.
And again, I think that's a little bit how Walker will probably project too.
Yeah.
They're good, but they're replaceable. And
he could be what Yosh Nijman was for a long time, where he's a great backup tackle.
Right. And then you have the other one here was Javon Bullard from Georgia. That was on our list.
Safety cornerback.
Yep. And then inside linebacker Edgerrin Cooper from Texas A&M.
I would not hate that either. They do have a big need, I think, at that position alongside Quay Walker. Quay hasn't quite gotten to where they wanted him to be yet, so double up CYA at that position,
And then as I look at the paper here, I do see that the big swing that Prime wanted the Packers to take was to go get Quinyon Mitchell from Toledo.
Look, I'm not saying he wasn't a good player. All right, Jim? I'm just saying they felt offensive line was a bigger need. All right? That's all I'm saying.
He wasn't choosing Valentine or Ballantyne or whoever Allentine it was.
Yeah.
He said the guy's name once and then automatically you're like, you want him over this guy? Did he not?
Counterfactuals, Molly.
Well, my point is, you wanted Quinyon Mitchell, and he was 3 picks away, and now you're like, well, I guess I'll just take this right tackle or left tackle, maybe.
If he's a good player, then I don't care, Jim.
But if we do agree in this, again, it's kind of universally believed, premium positions, and there's no question mark that Mitchell is a cornerback.
He is a true corner, yes.
Lockdown corner, left tackle, quarterback.
And if Jordan Morgan...
But that's it. We don't know if that's his position.
But, Quinyon Mitchell could be a flame out.
But we know his position.
I'm just saying.
Could be a flame.
He's a flame out. Flame bust.
I didn't know what that was.
But I'm saying we know his position.
Yeah, we know his position.
We don't know Jordan Morgan's position.
Okay, but what if he's bad at the only position? Okay, whatever, Jim.
I think no matter who the Packers would have picked, we'd be having any argument with Jim because he just wants to fight about the Packers.
That's the only way he knows how to talk about the Packers.
But yet we haven't talked about the Bears and all the pressure that they are under and all the pressure that Caleb Williams is under. Not once.
Hold on. We will get there.
Will we?
We have 2 segments left.
All I had yesterday was fans complaining that all we're doing is talking about the Bears. Here, you guys can hold me accountable. Before I said I like Amarius Mims, he didn't end up on the Packers. I said the Kool-Aid McKinstry would be a good pick for the Packers. I like him as a player. Johnny Newton, I like him as a player. Jackson Powers Johnson, I like that move. Unquestionably, that any of those picks, I would say I have nothing bad to say about them for the Packers.
There's still a lot of value on the board at the top of the second round.
But like those guys right there, and at Cooper as well, all those guys, like I'm not going to knock those picks. Like remember 2 years ago, I said my favorite picks for the Green Bay Packers were Tom and Dobbs. I didn't like the Watson pick.
I wasn't here 2 years ago.
But on the air, I said that the Walker and Wyatt picks seemed
He's
like...
looking at me like I was there.
I said it on the... I just get you and Alex mixed up. I said it on the air that the Walker and Wyatt picks felt a little bit stretchy to me, but I really love the value of Dobbs and Tom.
And they could still do that.
So, like, don't
picks
say...
today.
And also, Goody's track record is okay in the first round, and these rounds later today, this is where he
makes
eats.
his hay.
Yeah, so... I'm not just being negative, because all I said is that maybe they drafted him a little high. But Quinyon Mitchell falling to 22, being 3 picks away, there's a strong case to be made, and Bruss agreed with me, that would have made some sense to go get him.
But they would have had to give up a 4th-round pick.
Oh,
we
my
can't
God.
do that. We can't do that.
Yes.
It's
Can't
too
give
much.
up any of the 13 picks that they have or whatever
He's like
they
a truffle
have.
pig. You can't give him up.
Truffle pig.
Can't give him up. Got to keep his truffles.
Truffle pig eating those ribs at Applebee's.
You know what? I could eat some ribs at Applebee's, but I care too much about my body because I work at a Carbon World Health. So what I do is I take some of my glutide to make sure that I lost the weight that I wanted to lose. I keep that weight off by continuing to use semaglutide. You can find out if it's right for you and go to Carbon World Health. You also ask them about hormone optimization. You can ask them about cryotherapy. You can ask them about red light therapy. So many great options for recovery, working out, and optimizing your physical performance over at Carbon World Health. This is Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light.
This is Rutledge and Hamilton with Jim Rutledge and two-time 2024 National Curling Champion Matt Hamilton on 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
Great Dane Pub and Brewing Company is a Madison original, brewing award-winning craft beers for nearly 30 years. Whether you're a fan of Pilsners, IPAs, Stouts, or Sours, the Danes team of brewers always have something new on tap. Or if you're in the mood for a classic, enjoy the German Pilsner or Crop Circle Wheat. For a full tap list, head to one of their locations in Fitchburg, Hilldale, downtown, or East Madison, or visit GreatDanePub.com. Great Dane Pub and Brewing Company, Madison's original brew pub since 1994.
The host might be irrelevant, but the conversations aren't.
Bears defensive end Montez Sweat earlier this week on a podcast with Chris Long.
I'm not losing to Green Bay this year. I can't do it.
Mr. Irrelevant with Alex Strofe.
Instead of hanging out in the Bahamas and enjoying his offseason, he's complaining about the Packers. Rent-free.
Mr. Irrelevant with Alex Strofe. Live on ESPN Madison's YouTube every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And available wherever you get your podcasts.
Get the beat of the Bucks straight from a fan favorite and Bucks legend. Tap into Here District with Marcus Johnson, a Bucks Plus audio production. Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks and conversations with the biggest names in basketball. This week, Marcus and his son Chris are joined by former Milwaukee Bucks point guard Brandon Jennings. Find Here District now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, or wherever you get your podcast.
Good Karma Brands is proud to be an equal opportunity employer. Our policy is to provide equal opportunity employment, development, and advancement to all current and potential teammates. If you are an organization that maintains a job bank, provides employment information, or gives job referrals, you may request to be placed on the station's mailing list for future career opportunities. To learn more about careers at Good Karma Brands, please email careers@goodkarmabrands.com.
When it comes to security for your home and family, you want a winner, and we found one when we placed our trust with J&K Security Solutions. This is Greg Gard. Kim and Jeff hit the game-winning shot for us with the Control 4 home technology system. Home or away, from our smartphones, we can open the garage door, dim the lights, turn on the TV, as well as arm the security system. That's convenience as well as peace of mind. Let J&K Security Solutions do for your home or business like they've done for us. Call 255-5799 or online at jksecurity.com.
There's a good chance if you watch sports, you're getting served information about hormone optimization. What does that even mean? Dr. Nestor Rodriguez at Carbon World Health can tell you exactly what hormone optimization means. He will take your blood work and let you know if it's right for you. If you're feeling sluggish, not losing weight like you used to, you're not gaining muscle like you used to, or you just don't feel like yourself in most aspects of your life, go see Dr. Nestor Rodriguez at Carbon World Health. In fact, sign up for the 6-week experience so you can see everything that Carbon World Health has to offer, including hormone optimization. Learn more at CarboWorldHealth.com.
Welcome back to Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light on 100.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Metro Kia of Madison, Madison's trusted Kia dealership.
Are you leaving the show? What is going on, Molly Brown? You went and got
I'm sick
all
of your
stuff.
Packers disgrace. That's
But
where we're at.
why do you
right now.
have 17 bags in here now?
Okay, here's the thing.
Yeah.
So I'm heading over to Iowa right after this.
Is this why you're in love with Cooper DeJean?
Basically, yes.
Who I just found out has essentially the same athletic build profile as Caitlin Clark. That matters because he said he could beat Caitlin Clark one-on-one. But
good for him.
He's 6'1", 200 pounds.
Hey, you know what? You know what, Jim? I think if he went to Carbon World Health with you, he would probably
He'd be
beat
my
you up.
size. I am 6.
He'd beat you
he's
up.
6'1", 200 pounds. I am 6 feet, 200 pounds.
Ignore my bottle right here. My sippy.
Thirsty?
Hey now. I got 2. One for Coors Light, one for water.
There you go. Is the Coors Light out of the sippy cup?
Exactly. Start
All right.
him young.
You wanted some Molly Brown, Jim Rutledge with you. This is a special edition of Rutledge and Hamilton because we're getting kicked off the air for the Milwaukee Bucks a little bit later. And so you wanted to, and I'm fine with this. Yesterday people were complaining about talking about the Bears being the story of the draft, which they were. And you had some questions for me now as a Bears fan.
Yeah, no, I feel like I just have so many things about where you're at because I think, just to start it off.
Hold me accountable.
Ryan, I don't think, I understand why you wanted to talk about the Packers and not talk about the Bears, but I think this is actually the perfect time to talk about the Bears because they are so interesting right now. But Ryan, I'm curious, where do you land on this? Do you want Caleb Williams and the Bears to be good? Do you want them to continue to suck? Where are you at? Because I feel like I'm different towards each team in the NFC North.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so Lions, I want them to be good.
That makes
Bears,
sense.
I want them to be good. I want there to be competition. Vikings, I hope they continue to suck for the next 50 years. I love Justin Jefferson. That is the only person on the team that I like. But beyond that, I hope everything else about the Viking organization just continues to crash and burn.
So for me, it is tough because I feel the same way about the Bears, where I have Bears fans in my life, Jim Rutledge being one of them, friends from college as well, who are obsessed with the Bears, as they should be. It's their team. Mm-hmm. And I want to see them lose to the Packers. I want the Packers to be this superior franchise in the NFC North. But I do think, and I have a feeling Caleb Williams is going to be awesome in the NFL. I think he's going to be, he very well could be the best quarterback in the NFC North before the end of his rookie contract. I don't think that's crazy at all. So I think I want to see him be really good, but I don't want to see the Bears be good, which makes it really tough.
So you're like Justin Jefferson and the Vikings for me.
Oh, yeah, maybe a little bit like that, yes. Because honestly, I want to watch these star generational players be generational, but it's tough when they're in your division.
Yeah, so my thing is I just don't want the Bears or the Lions or the Vikings to be better than the Packers. I want there to be that constant competition. I want it to be oh my gosh, who's going to win the division? Because for so many years, it's just been okay, the Packers are going to win, or okay, the Vikings are going to win. Up until last year, it was okay. Well, last year was only year. Okay, the Lions are going to win the division. I want there to be constant competition between every single team in the NFC North. But moving on to the Chicago Bears draft, the fact that they had the number 1 overall pick with Caleb Williams, and there's so much hype around him. Then they got the guy at the 9 spot. What are you thinking in your mind? I mean, if I'm in your position, I'm just oh my gosh, there's so much pressure on this team. We've talked about DJ Moore, every single person that is on that offense. They have so many weapons, it feels that if they don't succeed, it's an absolute failure.
So it's layers to that. So I would say this, as a Bears fan, and I said this a couple years ago in Justin Fields' first full season as a starter when Matty Eberflus showed up, that was a teardown. I had no expectations. I wasn't upset if they won or lost. That team was just rolling out there to get through the season, clear off contracts. That was that. So that year was whatever. Last year I thought they'd win between 7 and 9 games. They got to 7. And so they had an opportunity to get that 8th at the end of the year. They lost to the Packers. So obviously the way they lost to the Packers both times wasn't great, but they kind of still hit exactly where I thought they would hit. So I try to be fair in my expectations for the team. And this year, though, I'm hoping for, I expect, I'll be disappointed if the Bears are not somewhere between 9 and 11 wins. I'm bumping it up by 2. And it has to do with a lot of different things. One, they finished the year after they added Montez Sweat as a top 10 defense. So that, to me, they should be able to bring that right back and compete as a top 10 defense. They brought back all those players. They're young guys, just like the Packers, will continue to get better. I always just say this. If you are projecting your players to get better, you also have to project everyone else in your division, their young players to get better, too.
Sure. And
the Bears, roster building wise, has really never been in question outside of the quarterback position. They've had really good defensive players. They develop players. The Bears' problem has always been the quarterback. They have other players on these teams that have been good, and they're at the point now that this team has true expectations. The offense, they've added 3 offensive linemen that are either going to start or add depth. They added Keenan Allen. They added DeAndre Swift, who starts over the Khalil Herbert, who was their starter last year. They still have, and they have a third-round pick from Rashawn Johnson. So they have 3 running backs, running back by committee. Those 3 guys should click. You have DJ Moore, you have Rome Odunze, and you have Keenan Allen. All 3 receivers can play all 3 different positions. You have Cole Kmet, who was your starter last year. You brought in the Charger starter in Gerald Everett last year as your second tight end.
But all these guys, do you feel like your window is very small, though?
No. DJ Moore is not old. Everett is not old.
But they're going to want to get paid soon.
But DJ Moore is under contract.
Shortly.
In that trade, his contract was signed, and most of the money went to Carolina. Gerald Everett got his money. And here's the other part of it. The Bears have 4-year window now of paying Caleb Williams nothing.
Yes, which is your favorite thing.
Right, but also when you look at the way the Bears have built it out, and again, this won't all work, but this is where Poles has been good. These contracts are hitting at times. They're not hitting at the same time. Their defense, their entire secondary, they had to pay finally their cornerback, Jalen Johnson, but the other 3 guys are still on rookie deals and will be for a while. Their other 3 starters, and they're actually Kyler Gordon, their nickelback. So their defense is very young. Their linebackers, TJ Edwards is on a sweetheart deal. They paid Edmonds a lot of money. D-line, their 2 D tackles this year are going to be second-year players. Yes, they had to pay Montez Sweat almost the same money or a little bit less than the Packers paid Rashawn Gary. Same age. Sweat has been more productive in his career than Rashawn Gary. So, again, you have to pay good players, absolutely. The Bears are not the whole team. They are a team that has added through the draft. DeAndre Swift is 24, 25 years old. So, I mean, and then you just brought in Odunze for the youth because Keenan Allen is older. You're right. So, that one, they're not perfect. They're always going to have to turn over the roster. So, I expect – so my feelings for the Bears next year is if they get between 9 and 11 wins, that's my expectation for them. 8 wins, they'll be like, okay, it's a push. But 9 to 11, I'm going to be happy to call that a win. And then, and how does Caleb – and Caleb – there's not a way that Caleb Williams looks bad.
See, but
in that window.
But that's my question, though, is how can you say that confidently when you just said that the problem with the Chicago Bears has always been the quarterback? There's always been the team built around, but the quarterback has always struggled. So how do you think that they're going to make it that much different this upcoming year? I get it that he's a talented young guy, but
well, 2 parts. One,
the development will make me nervous.
That's why I said that if they get to 9 to 11 wins, Caleb Williams is obviously a big part of that. He's not going to be along for the ride. You're not going to get to 9 to 11 wins.
Couldn't the argument against that, though, be that he's just a good game manager then?
If that's what he is his rookie year, who cares? Jordan Love was riding the bench his rookie year. If he comes in and is a game manager his rookie year, that still leaves plenty of room for growth. Remember, the Bears have gone from a guy in Justin Fields, and I liked him, but he was statistically across the board in baseline stats and advanced analytics a bottom 5 QB in the league last year. You throw in the running, it bumps him up a little bit. So, but
you also put him in the worst situation. I don't know if anybody would succeed.
Right, and so that gets to my point. Most people who grade the draft talk about this, all this sort of stuff, say that the Chicago Bears arguably could be the best position that any quarterback has gone into with the first overall pick. They are a team that won 7 games last year. Their coach is still around. They added more players. They're still a very young team. They brought in a play caller in Shane Waldron who called plays for Jared Goff and for Seattle. He called plays for years. They brought in other coaches. There's no guarantee any of this is going to work, but they have stacked the deck. Most of the time, look at Bryce Young when he went to Carolina. Trash. But look at nothing around him. Trevor Lawrence was good as a rookie in Jacksonville with a bad team. Urban Meyer was his coach, and he still was good as a rookie. Andrew Luck, Matthew Stafford, Cam Newton, Joe Burrow. These guys, now Burrow got hurt, but these guys who are viewed as the number 1 overall prospect, and not just the number 1 QB, who are picked number 1 overall, more often than not, I can run through the list, succeed. And I do think his range is somewhere between Jared Goff and Aaron Rodgers.
But just in a fan aspect of it all.
Yep.
I get it, what you're saying. It sounds exciting. It sounds promising. It sounds like all the things. But for you as a fan, because your heart has been broken so many times with the Bears, like, do you feel the pressure as a fan, or do you feel like they're not going to meet my expectations? Like, I'm just curious, like, that aspect of it.
I am jumping in 2 feet to be excited because the Bears haven't used the number 1 overall pick on anything since the 70s. And so here's the number, and this is why I'm excited. I'm just playing the odds here. Number 1 overall QB since 2009. We did this the other day. Matthew Stafford, that's a big win.
Mm-hmm.
Sam Bradford, he got hurt, but he had a good start to his career. Cam Newton, that's a win. He got an MVP and got him to the Super Bowl. That's a win. Andrew Luck was good before he quit.
Yep.
James Winston was not a win, but he wasn't horrendous. He wasn't Mitch Trubisky, but he was not a win, absolutely. But he was not viewed as the number 1 overall prospect. It's just quarterback sometimes just going to go number 1.
Okay.
Jared Goff's a win.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield is TBD because he's the best quarterback the Browns have had.
He's good right now.
And he was good with the Browns. Even when they got rid of him, he was putting up not quite Jordan Love type numbers, but pretty good numbers, and they just moved off him because they thought they could do better.
I think the end of that season got a little not great.
With Tampa?
No, with the Browns.
Right,
for
it
Baker
did.
Mayfield.
But like Baker Mayfield has now gone to the Browns. Still haven't figured out the quarterback. Baker Mayfield a year or 2 years later
Tampa.
is with Tampa and looks like a good
like
player.
him a lot there.
So like as a player, not exactly what you want, but still a hit. Kyler Murray, that's a hit. Injuries have slowed him down, but his first 3 years were on fire.
I think I heard you guys talking about this the other day, that you guys all said that it's like TBD. I think whatever he does this year determines that answer.
His first 3 years were great, and he got hurt. So if he gets hurt this year and is out again, that's more of a physical.
And there was all the other things that went into it too that I think
true, but like
help,
statistically, and he got to the playoffs, so he was trending in the right direction. Trevor Lawrence, that's a hit. Joe Burrow, that's a hit, and then Bryce Young is still TBD.
You think Trevor Lawrence is a hit?
Yes. Do you know? I mean,
I'm not saying he's not.
Well, because Trevor Lawrence, and this is what we talked about with Colin Russo yesterday, big Jags fan.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor Lawrence and the Jags fans were exactly where Packer fans are this season 2 years ago. Trevor Lawrence had a breakout season.
Interesting. Okay.
And they won a playoff game. And he wasn't bad last year. The Jags weren't bad last year. They just didn't make the big jump. They had all these young players. They didn't all click through. They thought Trevor Lawrence would go from fringe Pro Bowl to MVP. He kind of stayed where he was at. And so that that's the case of making for Jordan Love, where he might cap at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So my excitement with Caleb Williams, I'm trying to take a measured approach of like, hey, I think this can work out. Do we have time to get to Z to D?
Let's throw on Z and the D.
All right, let's hear from you, Z and the D.
Howdy, boys and girls.
Howdy.
All right, so I don't know if you guys touched in on this much, but Michael Penix at pick 8.
Yep.
What do you guys overall feel about this?
I can't see a way that this was a smart decision based off everything I said about the Packers with Jordan Morgan as well. Like, you could have had Michael Penix, in my opinion, if you're Atlanta, and we'll set aside the player because maybe it works out. You could have had him later. Maybe it's even 12.
I think it just feels very reminiscent of the Packers getting Jordan Love, but it made more sense when the Packers did it with Jordan Love because I think he was only 21 maybe, and Michael Penix is how old?
And far less risk. Like, Jordan Love was still viewed universally as the 4th best QB prospect in that draft, but like as a first round, he kind of had a early second round grade. There were not the question marks around Jordan physically that there are around Penix.
I just can't imagine what Kirk Cousins is feeling, but I don't know what the heck the Falcons are doing because they're paying him guaranteed $100 million.
Yep, over the next 2 years.
I know what the Falcons are doing. They're prime example. They're doing what the Packers are doing. Draft a quarterback when you don't need one. Now, Kirk Cousins, yes, he's going to be upset about it. I totally understand that. But the Falcons are only tied to him for 3 years, Matt. If they want to cut him after year 3, that cap it's only $12.5 million. And then with you drafting Michael Penix in the first round, you get that 5th-year option. So if you really want to, after the 3rd year, Kirk Cousins not what he was signed on to be, you cut him. You can still trade him too, get a 4th-round, 3rd-round pick for him for a team that's desperate if you really feel like Penix is the way to go. And it's a smaller contract, especially with Penix, so you can still pay out your guys like Bijan Robinson, who will be getting done with their deals. You'll also be able to pay out Kyle Pitts, Drake London. So those guys, and then Penix, he'll have that 1-year prove-it deal. They'll probably do with the Jordan Love thing instead of picking up the 5th-year option. They'll probably just sign him on with a guaranteed contract, and then he'll get that 5th year. I think it's a smart move that they picked him. I hear what Jim's saying. I don't understand why you trade back unless you honestly think that Oakland was going to take him. I don't think Oakland was going to take him. I think they were set on what they wanted to do, and the pieces fell to what they wanted. So And we saw that, what's their face? The Vikings were at 11. They traded up to the 10th pick with the Jets. So I honestly think if they could do it better, I think they would have traded back to the 11th pick, but they just didn't know if the Raiders were going to take them exactly. So I think it was a smart play. I just think that they could have done it about 3 picks later.
All right, thanks for the call, Zena D. This is Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light.
You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton, presented by Coors Light. The mountains are blue, and we can prove it. Follow the show on Twitter at Jim and Matt.
Step into nostalgia with the Miller High Life Dive Bar of the Week. Listen to Rutledge and Hamilton every Thursday, and we will let you know where you can enjoy $2 Miller High Lifes. To celebrate our love for dive bars, me and Matt are going to tell you about some of our favorites, featuring one extra special dive bar that will have $2 High Lifes on special for the week. Taste the champagne of beer in its natural environment. A delightfully different dive bar in Wisconsin, like Bristled Boar Saloon and Grill, Cahoots, London Depot, and New Paradise Lounge.
Matt Hamilton here to tell you about my friends at Revive Restoration. Nobody plans for accidents to happen, but when they do, you can count on Revive to be professional, efficient, and detail-oriented as they make things right again. Revive Restoration.
When you're in the right place at the right time, things get done. The important things, like knowing what you need and how it all works. Talking truck. Fixing it right the first time. At Zimbrick Chevrolet, our people get it done right and now. That's how you know you're in the right place at the right time. And you'll never overpay at Zimbrick Chevrolet.
Wild Rock Golf in the Wisconsin Dells, a must-play every golf season. Wild Rock Golf features championship golf in the heart of Wisconsin. Wild Rock, a Herdston Fry masterpiece that's cut from the natural beauty of the Wisconsin Dells and offers stunning views from elevated tee boxes. Wild Rock presents spectacular greens that roll fast and true. Wild Rock Golf in the Wisconsin Dells, a unique gem that offers a challenge to avid golfers of all abilities. Book your tee time today for this must-play at wildrockgolf.com, wildrockgolf.com.
Hey, Drew Scott here, and I'm Jonathan Scott, reminding you that life's better with a home policy from American Family Insurance. They can help you get just the right protection at just the right price and help you save when you bundle home and auto. Kind of like Goldilocks and the Three Bears. It'll be just right for you. We love a custom build. American Family Insurance. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Transform your home with Ridgetop Exteriors. With over 22 years of service excellence, we specialize in roofing, siding, windows, doors, and gutters. Visit us today at ridgetopexteriors.com. That's ridgetopexteriors.com. Find your trusted, local, affordable partner here at Ridgetop Exteriors.
Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side. When you see Diamond Jim, you can count on him to be on your side. Selection beyond compare with on-site repair, so you can wear your jewelry with pride. Condon Jewelers, the jeweler on the east side, the jeweler on your side.
You're listening to Rutledge and Hamilton on 100.5 ESPN. Brought to you by Carbon World Health.
They dance above me as I sing. I see them through a crystal haze and hear their sweet sound bouncing round.
Molly Brown has to get out of here. We got to get out of here for KBN. We will not be back on at 4 o'clock. The Milwaukee Bucks are playing some basketball later today, so you can go ahead and watch that.
We're going to win a 6.
I hope I'll take win in 7. 844-770-3776 is how you get into the show. And we're going to do one pole dance, I guess.
We asked and you answered.
Just one.
Coming to the stage, it's pole dancing on Rutledge and Hamilton.
Hey now.
Presented by Metro Kia of Madison,
better make it
Madison's
a good
trusted
one.
Kia dealership.
Oh, it's going to be worth your while there, big boy. Don't you worry. Now, Jim, we all know that you are the #1 Bears fan, maybe the only Bears fan across all of ESPN Wisconsin. Jen, Gabe, and Chewy this morning, they were curious. Are you worried about the Bears and the Vikings, what the Bears and the Vikings did in the offseason after the first day of the NFL draft?
Dirty pool.
What's that?
Dirty pool.
Dirty pool.
Don't slap the Bears into the Vikings there. Like,
oh, hey.
That is on purpose. Caleb Williams is viewed as the number 1 overall prospect.
Jim.
They had Caleb Williams
Jim.
and Roma Dunze. The Vikings
Jim.
took a big swing on J.J. McCarthy.
There's not nearly enough time for that. 14% said yes, both Minnesota and Chicago. 16% said yes, just Chicago. If you had waited, you would have heard that. And then 70% said no, prove it first. Guys, what do we think?
That's a lot of sour grapes. Chicago, you should be worried. They could come take the
Molly
second
Brown?
spot in the NFC.
Chicago
North
be
here.
worried. Minnesota, I think it was a poor move. And Sam Darnold was a poor move as well.
All right, we got to get out here, guys.
All right, KBN coming up next.
Peace.
There's a good chance if you watch sports, you're getting served information about hormone optimization.